Yep.
Living that dream. This is for them. I wake up every morning to a flag against the sky, and I don't take for granted all the reasons why. I can speak my mind freely, I can dream as big as I please, I can raise my family in the land of liberty. I know somebody paid the price for the life I'm living now. Thank God I live in America, where the free and the brave still stand, where old glory waves above us all, across this blessed land. From the mountains to the heartland fields, from the rivers to the sea. Thank God I live in America, and America lives in me. I'm from small town back roads and Friday night lights, from hard work and handshakes and neighbors helping neighbors through the night. I've seen people come together when times were hard to face, and that's the kind of America that nothing can replace. Through every generation, they kept the promise strong. Thank God I live in America, where the free and the brave still stand, where old glory waves above us all, across this blessed land. From the mountains to the heartland fields, from the rivers to the sea. Thank God I live in America, and America lives in me. I'm standing where they dreamed I'd stand 250 years ago, living in the freedom they hoped someday we'd know. And every time I see that flag flying proud and high, I remember all the men and women who gave their lives. Thank God I live in America, where the free and the brave still stand, where the bells of freedom ring tonight, across this blessed land. 250 years and counting, still shining for the world to see. Thank God I live in America, and America lives in me. America lives in me. America lives in me. Thank God I live in America. God bless the land of the free. It started with a scratch of a quill on a parchment scroll, a desperate prayer for a nation's soul. In a Philadelphia hall, beneath a summer sky, we looked at a king and we asked him why. 13 sparks ignited, a flame in the dark, choosing the road that would leave a mark of a people who'd rather be rugged and free than live on their knees by a distant sea. Can you hear the thunder across the great plains? The sound of a spirit breaking its chains from the Appalachian Heights to the Golden Gate tide. We got the ghost of the pioneers riding by our side. Freedom 250 feet, it's the breath in our lungs. One mighty anthem in 1,000 tongues. 250 years of chasing the light through the longest of winters and the hardest of fights. From sea to shining sea, under the stars and the sun. We are the many, and we are the one. It wasn't always easy, the road wasn't straight. We wrestled with shadows and we wrestled with hate. But the union is a work that is still in the making. With every wall falling and every heart breaking, I see the lady in the harbor, the tide and the poor, finding a key to a brand new door. From the fields of Iowa to the neon of NYC, you're the pulse of the nation, the spirit of the free. Can you feel the power of the dreamers today? From the Silicon Valley to the Chesapeake Bay, from the footprints on the moon to the courage in the streets, the heart of hopeful never retreat. Freedom 250 deep, it's the breath in our lungs. One mighty anthem in 1,000 tongues. 250 years of chasing the light through the longest of winters and the hardest of fights. From sea to shining sea, under the stars and the sun. We are the many, and we are the one. Liberty isn't a statue, it's a choice. It isn't a silence, it's a voice. It's the sweat on the brow, it's the vote in the hand. It's the promise we keep to this beautiful land. 2.5 centuries, and we're just getting started. Freedom 250. Freedom 250. Keep the fire burning. Keep the pages turning for the ones who came before and the ones yet to be. This is our chapter in the land of the free. From sea to shining sea, under the stars and the sun.
All right.
We are
Well,
many.
I got 2 more, you guys.
And we are the one. We the people. Still dreaming. Still climbing. America 250.
Got a big show lined up for tonight.
A song of power. This is a prayer. A prayer for fathers and mothers, for workers and soldiers, for the young and for the old, for every heart searching for hope. When nations are troubled, when people are divided, when fear grows louder than faith, there is still one who reigns above it all. So tonight, we pray! From the mountains to the oceans, from the cities to the plains, many hearts are growing weary, many souls are filled with pain. We have chased 1,000 answers, searching everywhere but you. Now we stand before your mercy. Lord, we need your truth. God save America, turn our hearts again. God save America, let revival rise within. Heal the broken, lead the lost, bring us to our knees. God save America. Lord, have mercy, please. God, the children of this nation, guide them through the darkest days. Give them courage, give them wisdom, keep them walking in your ways. Bless the fathers and the mothers, strengthen every weary hand. Let your light shine through the darkness, heal this wounded land. God save America, turn our hearts again. God save America, let revival rise within. Heal the broken, lead the lost, bring us to our knees. God save America. Lord, have mercy, please. Not by power, not by might, but by your spirit, bring us back to life. Not by riches, not by fame, but by the glory of your holy name. Though kingdoms rise and kingdoms fall, your throne stands forever above them all. God save America, lift your banner high. God save America, hear your people cry. Send your mercy, send your grace, let your fire descend. God save America, and draw us back again. When the night is long, be our light. When hope grows weak, be our strength. When fear surrounds us, be our peace. And when we lose our way, lead us home. God save America! God save America! God save America! Amen.
Okay, last one, you guys. Not sure if I did this one already or not. This one. Last one.
Fought against the odds in every inch of every race.
$1776.
3.5.
Wasn't a year. It was a decision. Boots in the dirt, sweat in the sun, no safety net, nowhere to run. They didn't wait for perfect skies. They read the truth and chose their side. Ink on paper, blood in the ground. No applause when the hammer came down. They knew the cost would come too quick, but a spine stays straight or it bends and splits. They didn't stand for comfort. They didn't kneel for peace. They chose a harder road on their feet. Remember 1776, when comfort wasn't king, when backbone beat convenience and truth was everything. Remember 1776, before we bowed to ease, before we traded liberty for guarantees. Time rolled on, the chains got clean, muskets traded for glowing screens. No marching boots on the shore, just paperwork behind closed doors. Soft control and a velvet glove of safety sold as something to love. Little by little, line by line, we signed away what once was mine. Freedom fades when we forget. It isn't safe, it isn't said. Remember 1776, when comfort wasn't king, when backbone beat convenience and truth was everything. Remember 1776, before we bow to ease, before we traded liberty for guarantee. 1776 don't live in museums. It lives in discipline. And telling the truth when it cost you, and standing firm when it would be easier to fold. You don't need a battlefield. You don't need a war. You just need the courage to say no more.
PetSmart's AutoShip handles the everyday stuff.
All right. God bless America and our troops, First Lady, and all the first responders, past and future. So there's everything coming out, you guys. So I'm going to stay out as long as I can to cover everything. We got a 25-minute Billy from last night. Then she has a 15-minute one this morning. She came on right after I got off. And then I got 3 10-minute ones from the speakers from Georgia. Trump's at our rally today. And then I'm going to share the coverage of where Trump was at the ceremony for the 13 soldiers there. And I got the speakers from yesterday we didn't get a chance to see. Kennedy and Nancy and Susan Collins, a few other ones, and just a lot more stuff to get out. So I'm going to go ahead and get started because we got a lot to cover. Only 2 people in chat right now. This is 12 minutes. I don't think nobody talks on this one.
Join Planet Fitness for $1 down and get up to 3 free months of Apple Music. No commitment. Deal ends July 31st.
Was diagnosed with sciatica, so I had to get this seat cushion with this lower back support. It's memory foam. On long
Ah, how'd that slide off so fast? Ah, so that was basically the ceremony there. I gotta cut it off. Trying to save some time because I got so much videos, so much intel to get out. So we saw half of it there. I want to do some short clips. I got to get to the two Billy Beans out. 3 minutes.
Nationwide to continue their electoral efforts. They tell us explicitly how they're funding it, and I guarantee you conservatives and MAGA are still going to say, where's the money coming from? Well, I'm going to tell you where the money's coming from, and it's not George Soros, and it's not NGOs, and it's not USAID, and it's not Never Worry Singham in the CCP. They are explicitly telling us where the money is coming from. I'm Carla Barasenko. I'm an analyst and independent journalist covering the far left in America. And last week, the Democratic Socialists of America National Chapter released this map showing all the different locations that they're going to be opening these 20 new on-the-ground offices, including some places you would expect like Portland, Los Angeles, Boulder, Colorado, Chicago, Detroit, all of the usual suspects, Rochester, New York. They have a lot of local elected officials there. Also in some places that you might not expect. They've got Salt Lake City there. They've got Birmingham, Alabama. Alabama, that seems like a red state to me. They've got Atlanta. They've got Cleveland. They've got Lincoln, Nebraska. They've got Boston. They've got Tampa. I was told this stuff wasn't happening in Florida, and yet the DSA is literally opening an office in Tampa, Florida to get local DSA members elected. And as you can see, they also tell us explicitly where the money's coming from. National DSA awards $140,000 to open 20 new offices across the U.S. The money is coming from the National DSA. But Carlin, how do they get the money? Is it Soros? Is it Never Worry Singham in the CCP? Where are they getting this money from? Well, it's actually real simple, guys. The Democratic Socialists of America are funded by dues-paying members. In order to have voting privileges in the DSA, you have to pay them like $15 a month in dues. Some people pay a little bit less if they're students. Some people pay a little bit more, but on average, we're talking about $15 a month to the national chapter. You also are supposed to pay dues into your local chapter, so you're paying two separate organizations to do on-the-ground electioneering and paying for their operating expenses and stuff like that. Now, this is a bit different than, like, say, the Democratic Party. You don't have to pay the Democratic Party to be a member of the Democratic Party. You just have to register as a Democrat. So the DSA has a machine where their members are funding the organization. And actually right now, they have more cash on hand than the Democratic Party. You want to know why the DSA is defeating the Democrats? They literally have more cash on hand than the Democratic Party. A couple of weeks ago, the DSA, the national branch, announced that they had surpassed 120,000 dues-paying members. That means they are bringing in $21 million a year in membership dues. That is how these local offices are being funded. That is where the $140,000 came from. And if you think $140,000 sounds like a lot of money, they're bringing in $21 million a year in dues. So they got a lot more to spend. So we can expect to see the DSA to continue to win because they have the on-the-ground infrastructure to do so. That is where they're getting the money, dues-paying members.
All right. News with that, lady. I got two clips here from yesterday or the other day.
God! Get away! Oh my God! Oh my God.
Just a minute.
is insane. Crazy.
Get up there. There's a better
Guys.
how it started
Oh
there.
my God. Get away. Oh my God.
Okay, that was from the other day. I got 11-minute. One guy that knows some information. I don't know if anybody's seen this one. Well, actually it's 14, you guys.
Let me give everybody a brief idea of who I am that don't know who I am, that haven't been watching. Last Thursday, Donald Trump put out a press conference, press briefing, whatever you want to call it. He made a statement outlining all the treasonous acts that has been committed against America and against American citizens. And not only did he outline it, he gave all the proof on government websites. You go in and you look at it and you can see. So me, Chris Britton, and all of us, the Republic regulators, are demanding the government do their job.
This is really important.
This country is not about the government. This country is about the people. We the people. And we the people are speaking. And we the people are demanding these people be arrested and tried for treason. To those of you in the government that are supposed to be watching these kind of things and keeping track of it, listen up and take this to your higher up bosses. October 17th, noon is your deadline. And we the people will bring this country, well, let me say this. We the people will bring all of these treasonous traitors to their knees. And unfortunately, while doing so, it will bring this country to its knees. Until we see that our government is working for us, we the people. We the people don't work for the government works for us. When we see that our government is doing what it is supposed to do and locking up these treasonous son of a bitches and putting our country back to the great country it is, when we see that, then and only then will we release the stronghold we will have on this country and all these treasonous traitors. We will do this and we won't fire a shot. We won't pick up even a single gun. What we will do will be with honor and dignity and respect. And I can honestly say, if Jesus Christ were standing right here with us, when we reveal this plan, he would smile and pat us on the back and say, that's the right way. So make no mistake, we have a plan. That plan will be revealed soon. But every day for about the next 5 or 6 days, we're going to give you another list of what we need done.
This is good.
Now, we all believe in the rule of law. The Republic regulators are about the Constitution of this United States and the rule of law. We will always maintain the rule of law. We will none of us pick up a single gun and go in at anybody for any reason. Oh no, we got something better than any weapon, any damage any weapon could do. Make no mistake, people, we are taking our country back. I had a 13-year-old child message me
10 minutes.
and say, I'm only 13, but I know we all need to do this together. I've had people in their 80s message me and tell me, Chris, we need to do this. I wish I could be there, but I can't. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm telling you, every single person that is for what's right and what's good and for our country and our Constitution will be more than proud to be part of this. And you can all be part of it. It is very genius and it will work. I would like to take credit for the idea, but as I was riding, thinking, trying to come up with it, the good Lord gave me this idea. I owe it all to God. But you people from the lettered agencies in our government do not believe for 1 minute that I'm some kind of religious fanatic that hadn't got a clue. Because on October 17th at noon, you will find out. Man, we should have listened to that man. And those of y'all that are in power in the lettered agencies up there in D.C., do not take this lightly. Take it as serious. Take it to your bosses, CYA, because when it goes down, everybody in the government from the highest up is going to be asking who knew and when and why wasn't this headed off the path? We're not kidding. This will be done. I'm going to give you a short list today. This is one of the many lists to come. Now, this first list that I'm going to give you are the main actors that committed treason against this country and against every one of my countrymen. In this list, we want every single one of these treasonous people locked up and charged with treason, and they stay there awaiting their court date. Here's the list. There's 5 names on this list today. And these 5 people we want to see locked up. If we do not see at least some progress, and these 5 have got to be locked up before October 17th. If we do not see progress that this is being done, we will execute our plan. The list reads, number 1, and once again, let me tell you, we the people demand all of these people be locked up for treason based off of what Donald Trump told every one of us and the evidence he gave us showing that they committed these crimes against us, against our country, and this crime is treason. Number 1 on the list, Barack Obama.
We all
to be
knew
locked
that.
up and tried for treason based off of all the information you have given us.
You all knew that.
Number 2, Joe Biden is to be locked up and tried for treason based off the list and information you have given us, Mr. President. Number 3, Bill Clinton is to be locked up and tried for treason based off the list and information you've given us. Hillary Clinton, number 4, is to be locked up and tried for treason based off the list and the information you have given us. Zohran Mamdani is to be locked up for treason. Zohran Mamdani violated the Logan Act just recently. Now Zohran Mamdani is standing up there in New York saying, if Netanyahu from Israel comes here, he's going to arrest him. He does not have that authority. He is committing treason. Now, this is the first 5 on the list. The next item on the list, every inch of farmland in this country that is owned by treasonous China that you have presented to us, that they have 250 million of our voter ID and information. They have committed crimes against us. We do not want them owning 1 inch of farmland in this country of any kind. We want it all back, every bit of it. That's the short list to begin with. There'll be lists coming every single day.
Oh boy.
We the people, this is our country. We are going to take our country back. We are going to remain law-abiding and civil and respectful during it. But you boys up here in DC understand this. Make no mistake. We are going to take this country back. We don't want to do any harm or damage to our country in any kind of way. But to bring these treasonous son of a bitches to their knees, we will have to bring the entire country to its knees. And that's the price we'll have to pay for a short amount of time while we get our point across and make everybody understand that we are serious. I watched Donald Trump, Marco Rubio, and I believe his name is Stephen Miller, the guy. I had all this written down, and I left my list over there, and I can't get to it. The man up there in D.C. that's bald, no offense, brother, and he reports direct to Trump. I'll tell you his name in a minute. That's part of getting gray in your beard. You forget things. Anyway, I watched all three of them. I got to sneeze, folks. Excuse me. I watched all three of these men stand up and tell every one of us that we have to be very careful. The leftist political terrorism is here. They're trying to destroy us. And I've watched them all say we have got to stand up and fight for our rights. Every single one of them did. Well, all of you boys up there in D.C. that the lettered agency is supposed to be watching folks like me that are doing this, y'all go to your bosses when you finish seeing this and you let them know, oh shit, we got a problem. Houston, we've got a problem. Because these people, the Republic regulators, mean business, and they're coming. Once again, this is not a ploy to try to overthrow our government. This is not a manifesto saying we're fixing to kick a door down and shoot the place up. It's not that at all. What this is saying we hear what President Trump told us about the treason committed against us and our country, and we the people, and we demand action, or we the people will take action, and we will bring every treasonous one of them son of a bitches to their knees in this country too, until they're all locked up. That's the message for them. Donald Trump, you're my president. Brother, I would take a bullet for you. I have the most respect for you. I can't find a bad thing to say about you. You're a good man. I know, or I've seen the majority of the stories of all the good you've done for people from behind the scenes. When I look at a politician, I will go back and look at what they've done to see if they're a good politician or not. The radical left, I can't find any good that they've done. But Mr. President, I cannot find any bad that you have done. I mean, there are people say, well, he was a little too hard on us making this deal or that deal. Well, big whoop, that's lie. And I know all these charges they brought against you and tried to try you for was all bogus. You're a good man. I believe you're appointed by God. And I believe you're here for the greater good of us all. And that's what we, the people, the Republic regulators, are doing today. We are for the greater good of all. But we want our country back. So, Mr. President, with all due respect to you, I don't wish any disrespect to you in any kind of way. but we're taking our country back. And I thank you for all you've done. And I hope you continue being our president. I'd love to see you for another 4 years. And if anything I can do to make that happen, I'll do it. We respect you immensely. God bless each and every one of you. I love each and every one of you. When I say that, I mean it. There'll be more following.
Wow. That was very powerful. What do you guys think? Amen to that guy. That's only the first video, you guys. First big video. I got a lot more to cover. Very powerful. Oh, we got Marco Rubio. 9 minutes. Where's everybody at?
Clips right onto your finger to accurately measure your.
What's the overall approach, Secretary, to Myanmar and to potentially re-engaging with the junta there or cooperating on issues like rare earths?
What's the
position or the approach of the Trump administration towards Myanmar and re-engagement with the government?
Yeah, no. Well, I don't have any announcement for you on that today. It's a policy that we're still
okay. What do you think of that
developing
one,
in many ways. Obviously, there's some conditions that have been shifting with regards to Myanmar or Burma over the last few months that we're keeping an eye on and see if there's opportunities to engage. Obviously, we still have many concerns about some of the things that have happened in that country historically and in the past. And there also remains the question of how receptive and open they are to a different relationship with the United States as well. So these things are still being worked on, but I don't have any announcement on that today other than, they were here and they were present today. And I'm glad they were here. And I said that in our forum. But it's not a place we have a long history of engagement in recent times. So if an opportunity presents itself to do something that serves our national interests, we'll explore it. But there's still some work to be done in that regard. Okay, guys.
Did you confirm
thanks.
that the White House will be announcing a nuclear deal with Saudi Arabia today?
I don't have any news for you on that today, but maybe later today, once Washington wakes up, or if there is an announcement, I promise you'll know about it. Okay? Thanks. We're going that way.
Yep. Thank you, sir.
Jackals breaking up.
You just heard Secretary of State Marco Rubio, trying to figure out which way to go, speaking live in the Philippines after meeting with his Chinese counterpart.
Rubio discussing a wide range of topics, including the latest on the war with Iran.
So, a guy that was listening, I am sure, Chief Foreign Correspondent Trey Yingst is live in Tel Aviv with the details. Because, Trey, he talked a lot about the region that you call home.
Yeah, absolutely, guys. Good morning. Secretary Rubio speaking there from the Philippines, discussing the war with Iran and the possibility of negotiations. He says right now the Iranians are not serious about making a deal.
We remain open to diplomacy. We remain open to working it out in a negotiated way. But right now, they don't seem to be serious about that. And so we're going to continue to protect shipping. We think other countries should join us in that endeavor. We don't need them to, but they should, because they're more impacted by it than we are. And at the same time, we are going to, when the opportunity presents itself, degrade their ability to target global shipping.
The remarks from Secretary Rubio come after the United States hammered the Iranians for an 11th straight night. The target list expanded. Reports indicate far deeper strikes inside of Iranian territory, along with a variety of positions along the Strait of Hormuz. CENTCOM released a statement saying over the past 3 months, Iran has attacked more than 30 commercial vessels transiting the international waterway vital for regional and global trade. The unwarranted attacks have endangered hundreds of innocent mariners and undermined freedom of navigation. The strait remains largely at a standstill, with just 3 commercial vessels passing through on Tuesday, according to Kepler shipping data. The other area of focus remains on Iran's nuclear program that President Trump says will be targeted in the days ahead.
We follow the material. That's where the action is. And we'll be hitting that area probably pretty soon. And there's not a thing they can do about it. Normally I wouldn't say that. If I thought they could do something about it, I would never say that. But we'll be hitting that area pretty soon, and very heavily.
Both the United States and Iran have left open the door for diplomacy. The Iranians have continued their attacks against Gulf countries, overnight targeting Kuwait. Just last hour, the Jordanians say they dealt with incoming Iranian missile fire toward the southern city of Aqaba. The explosions there could be heard in southern Israel. Guys?
Hey, Trey, what could you tell me about the Red Sea? You know, we hear the Houthis going to say we're shutting it down to Saudi Arabia. They seem to be in their own little fight, but that's going to affect the global price of oil and gas. So what's happened? Is it just rhetoric or is it action?
Right now, it's just rhetoric. The Houthis have made some open threats about trying to close the Bab el-Mandab Strait. This translates to the Gateway of Tears, the entrance into the Red Sea. And they've done so in the past, but they've also paid a heavy price for it, with both U.S. and Israeli strikes that have targeted one of Iran's largest proxies there in Yemen. Yesterday, President Trump was asked about this at the White House, and he said if ultimately the Houthis decide to do this, then business could be taken care of, an indication that strikes could be on the table for the Houthis if they try to threaten international shipping lanes. Remember, in the past, the Houthis have launched missiles and drones at Israel. Back in 2024, a man was killed here in Tel Aviv by a Houthi drone that targeted very close to where the U.S. Embassy branch is located in this city. But more broadly speaking, there are a variety of options on the table for the president, not just to deal with Iran, but also its proxies across the region. And so it's something to keep an eye on, because certainly if they decide to try and close that critical waterway, it would be another dynamic in this expanding story. But right now, we're just seeing rhetoric from Houthi forces in Yemen.
Yeah, 8 million barrels of oil go through pipelines there and then through the shipping lane.
Trey, I noticed on the strike list last night that an Iranian barracks was targeted. I thought that was very notable after an Iranian ballistic missile hit the base in Jordan that killed four American soldiers. It does seem like the Trump administration and the U.S. military is ramping up these strikes, especially when you're targeting an Iranian barracks.
Yeah, President Trump has had a very clear message for the Iranian regime. You kill U.S. forces in the Middle East, and you'll pay a price 10 times greater. And that's starting to be the equation that is unfolding in the region. The Iranians have taken 11 straight nights of incoming U.S. strikes. And again, the target list is expanding here. And the president said yesterday from the Oval Office, he's been nice so far. The Iranians haven't seen anything yet. Remember, there are a variety of options for President Trump when it comes to military pressure on the Iranians. And it's not just the military pressure, it's also the economic pressure that is expanding each and every day. The U.S. naval blockade of Iranian ports is back in place, and it's costing the Iranians hundreds of millions of dollars each day. And when we think about the domestic pressure that the regime is facing in a country of 90 million people, they can't get food to many of their people. It's difficult to get water to their civilians, and the inflation rate is skyrocketing. Right now, the rial in Iran is almost 2 million to $1 US, one of the highest levels that it's ever been. And this is partially a result of the U.S. naval blockade that is putting new pressure on the Iranian economy.
Wow. All right, Trey, we only have 30 more questions, but unfortunately we're out of time.
Thanks,
I
Trey.
appreciate it.
We'll talk to you throughout the show, though,
Yeah.
Trey. Thank you. You do an excellent job. The president is going.
Okay, I guess that was now Marco Rubio. Okay, I got a Q drop, 5-minute Q drop. Then I'm going to play the first Billy Bean video.
All right, this is my decode on Q drop 1, which comes to 71. Think mirror, 17. Q, 17 in simple English cipher. Q drop 1 equals 228 in the prime cipher. The best is yet to come, 228. Now it starts off with anonymous, which comes to 137. Oh, Vincent Fusca, 137. And Vincent Fusca, with just the V and the F, is 28. There's our 28 again. And down in the date and time, we have two 28s, one there and one there. Well, this date and time comes to 147. The great
Yes, a lot of
Mega
people are
King,
listening today.
147. 4, 7. Now the uppers, O, P, M, E, D, T, and all the numbers and the punctuation comes to 1, 2, 4. I love you equals 1, 2, 4. Now the lowers, CT, and all the numbers and punctuation comes to 74. Jesus equals 74. So it appears that this date and time says the great MAGA king, I love you, Jesus. Pretty cool, huh? Well, now in the date and time, we have the date, October 28th, 2017, the full date, October 28th, 2017, the time. All right, we're going to decode that. October 28th, that comes to 48. I'm God equals 48. Now, October 28th, 2017 comes to 61. Red tie equals 61. Now, 2017 can also be said 2, zeros mean nothing, 1 plus 7, that's 8, and we have 28 again. Now, in the time, we also have 2, 8 here. So 4, 4, 2, and 8 comes to 28, 28 again. So that's a lot of coincidences for 28. So remember, 28 spelled out equals 156. God equals 26 in the English cipher, simple English cipher. But in the English cipher, God is simple English. God is 156 in the English cipher. Now we'll take Jesus Christ, right?
Almost over. A minute left. 2 minutes.
That equals 151. Well, that's a palindrome, right? So we can pull that apart. 1, 5, and 5, 1. So that equals 1 and 5, and 5 plus 1, that's 6. 156, 156, 156. Okay, we have a lot of references to 156 on here via the 28 that is repetitive in the date and time. Now, we have 137. So 137 plus 28 equals 165. It's in your face. 165. So now we also have 71, Q drop 1, 71 plus 28. That equals 99. Most high equals 99. Well, that's my decode for today. I hope you like it. Have a great day.
Okay, the Q drop, latest. All right, our first Billy Bean from last night will be 25. The second one will be 15.
You know the real root cause.
Well,
Welcome to Truth by Billy Bean. Today's date, July 21, 2026, time in Texas, about 4 p.m. Some of the things we'll cover: Texas, Bertha, tropical storm, and what's going on with Cascadia, California, 1.7 million ghost, President Trump, pickaxe, and the U.S. military. Are they planning to use a tactical nuke? And what's going on with Ukraine and Russia? So let's get started. So we have from Stephen Gardner this afternoon that California does indeed have 1.7 million ghost voters. That's coming in from the U.S. government, and we know the U.S. Post Office this week won a court decision.
Hey, Kay, can you look at Trump's live speech for me and see what he's saying, if anything good or not? Because he's live right now.
President Trump in favor of President Trump's election integrity. And the U.S. Post Office now, with regard to mailing out mail-in ballots, can do so only using clean voter rolls. That means if states don't clean up their voter rolls, according to the guidelines of the U.S. government, then the U.S. Post Office cannot mail out ballots in that state. This is going to be fun. And we have some breaking news this afternoon. It appears in Iran that President Trump, who mentioned Pickaxe Mountain several times today, has authorized B-1B supersonic strategic U.S. bombers to take off from the UK. It's believed they're en route to Iran to begin an assault on Pickaxe Mountain, located in western Iran. It's believed underneath Pickaxe Mountain, about 2,000 feet of solid granite, the Iran has a secret nuclear site where they are enriching uranium. And oh yes, more information has come out recently, adding more corroboration to information I've put out in the past several years. During Obama and HRC's time,
I got too much intel to get out, so I was asking Kay to see if he said anything different or not. If you got an update on it.
I'm trying to take down the U.S. from within. They actually sold U.S. uranium to Russia. And that uranium went to Russia, and now it's in Iran. So the U.S. is only asking for what actually belongs to the U.S. because it was illegal for Obama and HRC to sell uranium to Russia. So that's going on. So it's believed these strategic bombers are en route to Iran. And we have that military analysts believe that the only way the U.S. can burrow into that nuclear site under Pickaxe Mountain is by using tactical nukes, which will cause a seismic wave that will crush everything underneath Pickaxe Mountain. So we'll have to keep our eyes on Iran today, as the bombers, it appears, are in the air and headed that way. We also have today Iran making a public statement that if the U.S. hits Pickaxe Mountain, then Iran is going to hit Israel very hard.
One simple rule
one,
when buying fruit.
Last
You may
night,
think eating
25,
healthy means you have to eat all
and
of
I got
this every
15
day.
from
But
today.
I'm about to show you how to get everything you need in just 2 bites.
And we have
21 left.
today that Iran also hit the Israeli embassy in Bahrain with missiles today. So that's going on. And we have this from the National Hurricane Center. So we have the tropical storm Bertha has made up. It's out in this area. And fortunate for the U.S., most of the heavy rain and clouds, thunderstorms, are away from the U.S. coast. It's believed this thunderstorm will cause heavy rain in Florida, Alabama, Mississippi, Louisiana, and Texas over the next several days, moving Tuesday along the U.S. coast into Texas, coming in about Galveston, Houston by Thursday. But it's very likely, according to the National Hurricane Center, to bring us much more than 4 inches of rain. Now, that's the prediction right now. We should begin to experience some of the winds possibly by about Wednesday. Flash flood, according to the National Hurricane Center, for the U.S. Gulf Coast all the way down to Texas is only 5%. So that'll be a blessing to Texas. We'll just get a little wind and some much needed rain. So that's going on. We have this also coming from another source, mail-in voter ballots. Not allowed in France since 1975, in Mexico since 1992, in Belgium since 2018. And we have not allowed at all at any time is Sweden, Italy, Ukraine, and Russia. And not allowed at any time in the Middle East and Latin America. So what's up with the U.S.? So that's going on. We have this from China Focus. China has also been receiving catastrophic flash floods this week, but also 59 earthquakes in the last 3 weeks, including 16 that were a magnitude 4 plus, and recently one near Jinhe, 5.5, that was 6 kilometers deep, or about 3 miles. And also one after that, 6.3. So far, China reports for this Jinhe area, 1 death and 8 injured. So that's going on. We have this from W77. Yes, yesterday in New York City, there was a small explosion in front of a federal ICE building. The suspect has been arrested. He put down gasoline and then fireworks in the gasoline, then lit it up and made a small fire. So that's going on. I have this from a Patriot subscriber talking about weather in Canada. They had a wet start to the summer in Alberta. Edmonton is no unexpected weather. And the Patriot subscriber is praying for good weather for Texas. And we say thank you. I have another Patriot subscriber who is praying that all U.S. hurricanes go down significantly. And she believes many U.S. hurricanes are down since Space Force took down HARP in Alaska. She says, I appreciate your precise reporting, and it's good to pray for our U.S. military and also for the people of the Middle East. I agree. The Patriot subscriber, Hell's Gate. We know that yesterday I reported President Trump said, open Hell's Gates on Iran. My Patriot subscriber says Hell's Gates are opened by CERN. That's their plan, or that's their plan. But she spells their Thiel, as in Peter Thiel, AI entrepreneur. We have this from Stephen Gardner. President Trump has had a big win, another big win in a court system. A U.S. appeals court says that the U.S. Post Office can deliver mail-in ballots according to the guidelines of the U.S. government.
Hey, Jay, were you listening at the beginning? I played a really powerful word from a guy that I guess knows the plan or something, but very powerful. Those 12 minutes. I know Trump is speaking, but I got too much intel to get out today. This is a 25 and a 15 from this morning, and I got tons of, so.
We have this from Enforcer. So we have going on in the Middle East. We also have we know Iran, and then another part of the Middle East. So we have Iran.
I tried every type of ED medication, Viagra or sildenafil, and Cialis or tadalafil. I know this works for some people, but I did not get reliable results. 4 out of 10.
Oman and Yemen.
15 on this.
Right in this area is the Red Sea. Saudi Arabia is in this area. Currently, Iran is trying to pick a fight with Saudi Arabia, the largest Middle East country. Also, Saudi Arabia has a military agreement with Pakistan, and Pakistan currently has 8,000 troops in Saudi Arabia. And we know Pakistan has been acting as a mediator between the U.S. and Iran. So it's going to be interesting to see what it is that Pakistan does as Iran is now picking at Saudi Arabia. Iran directed the Houthis in Yemen to close off the Red Sea to Saudi Arabia shipping its oil. And we also saw yesterday Iran near the Strait of Hormuz in this area firing upon a Saudi Arabia tanker. So what is Pakistan going to do in the guidelines of its defense agreement with Saudi Arabia? Is Pakistan going to then fire upon Iran? We'll have to see. So that's going on. We have this from U.S. Intel. Iran hit a Saudi Arabia vessel, that's yesterday. It had a Saudi Arabia flag on it, so Iran can't plead ignorance. And Iran also hit yesterday Kuwait and Bahrain. And last night we were hearing that Iran was going to invade, so right in this area, from Iran over this way to Kuwait, invade Kuwait to hit a U.S. military base and take prisoner at least 100 U.S. military. Well, so far, we've seen nothing. So it sounds like it might have been all words. So that's going on. And we have this from Alex Cristoforo, that in the Middle East, the U.S. since Iran was successful in hitting our base in Jordan, killing 3 U.S. military, it's believed the U.S. is moving troops and equipment further away from Iran into Israel. So that's going on. They could also move to Cyprus, which is a UK military base. And we have this, that apparently the U.S. has also okayed Saudi Arabia, as has the IAEA, approved Saudi Arabia engaging in its own nuclear defense program and enriching uranium. And we have this in Ukraine at their Odessa port, that Russia sank a grain ship coming in to resupply Ukraine. So that's going on. We have this from Danny Hoffheg and Alex Makuras, that one of the objectives of the U.S. being in Iran is to take down the economy of China. And yes, I put that out a couple of months ago. President Trump's brilliant plan, we have many enemies, was with the number one enemy being China. First, he began in Venezuela to deprive China and also China's proxy, Cuba, from oil from Venezuela. Next, he's hitting Iran to also deprive China from oil from Iran. We have this from Max Afterburner, that Pickaxe Mountain near Isfahan, Natanz nuclear sites in western Iran, that at Pickaxe Mountain, Iran has been building an underground nuclear site since 2025, and that it's under 2,000 feet of granite. That may be why military analysts say the only way to penetrate Pickaxe Mountain is by using tactical nukes. We have this from Gray Zone, Max Blumenthal, who went to Iran recently to report on the funeral of Ayatollah number 1. And he reports that there are active Iran citizen resistance groups. So that's going on. We have this from Judge Napolitano and Scott Ritter.
This is the quickest way to clear yellow toenails in 2026.
Christians, did you know there's a biblical...
That Iran is working to destroy Kuwait, and then next we'll work on destroying UAE. It's because these Middle East countries are also locations of U.S. military bases. We have this about Iran. I believe this came from Tusi TV, that the IRGC on TV in Iran is telling the unarmed civilian population to try and take down U.S. planes and to try to capture U.S. military soldiers. You know, Iran works to keep its people unarmed. We saw their protest in January, February, and March in their capital city, Tehran, and other large cities, machine gunning down unarmed Iranian citizens. So that's going on, and that goes to show you just how important in the U.S. our Second Amendment is. And we're hearing the U.S. military yesterday and today, day 9, have not stopped making hits on Iran and hit Chabahar once again. So the U.S. military right now is trying to. So we have Chabahar, we've got the Strait of Hormuz, we've got Bandar Abbas. Pickaxe Mountain is in this area, western Iran. The U.S. military is bombing continuously along Iran's southern border near the Strait of Hormuz to destroy Iran's ability to fire upon ships in the Strait of Hormuz. So that's going on. President Trump today at the White House met with the leader of Lebanon. So we have Israel and Lebanon. In Lebanon, Iran has one of their primary proxies, the Hezbollah, that for years has been trying to destroy Israel. Now, the U.S. is trying to help the government of Lebanon to disarm Hezbollah. So that's going on. President Trump, we see, continues his efforts to bring peace. We have this from Tuesday TV that, the IRGC presented to President Trump yesterday via Pakistan a new ceasefire agreement. President Trump said no ceasefire. So that's going on. And we have this today, July 21, today,
Thanks for that
Iran
update,
once again with missiles hit another vessel near the Strait of Hormuz, a Greek tanker, and it is on fire. Yesterday, they hit a Saudi Arabia tanker. There's no way, apparently, to deal with Iran other than the hard way. We have this statement from CENTCOM today, day 9 of the U.S. military hitting Iran, that the U.S. military continues to hit IRGC military locations and its missile and drone sites, plus along the southern border near the Strait of Hormuz. And that recently, in the past several weeks, the U.S. has been able to expedite ships and tankers coming out of the Persian Gulf past the Strait of Hormuz. And so far, they brought out 900 ships carrying 450 million barrels of oil. And we have this.
That's good, Dragonfly.
That in Iran, they have Iran's military, which is separate from the IRGC, general made a statement that they will certainly invade their Gulf states' neighbors and make significant hits on Israel if the U.S. military invades Iran. With regard to Ukraine and Russia, we have this from Military Summary. So the people of Ukraine have been in protest since Zelensky fired the Minister of Defense, Fedorov. And they want Zagorski gone. He's the leader of the Ukraine military. But so far, Zelensky said he will make a decision about Zagorski by August 18. The protests continue. They've been going on for 5 days now. These are the largest protests seen in Ukraine since 2014. And we have reports that Russia continues to advance. So we have in Ukraine, major front lines. We have Luhansk, Donetsk, Zaporizhzhia, Kherson, and Crimea. This is the front line. And we see Russia continuing to advance in many areas and also moving into Kharkiv, Sumy, and next will be Kiev, the capital city. So we see Russia moving forward, advancing along the front line in multiple locations. We do see Ukraine successful using drones, hitting inside Russia. So that's going on. And yesterday we saw Russia making additional hits on Ukraine's primary port, Odessa. So this concludes my update. I love you, and I'll see you soon.
Okay, that
Back
was
home,
from
precious bit.
last night. That was 25 minutes. Now this morning she had one. It's 15 minutes.
About 9 a.m. And thanks for like, subscribe, and share, and especially for hitting the like button. That really helps my channel. Thank you so much. Some of the things we'll cover: Bertha hitting Louisiana and Texas. And could there be a second tropical storm developing in the Gulf of America? We'll talk about it. U.S. oil giants are now being impacted by the conflict between Russia and Ukraine. AI Claude jumps its fence. The U.S. military now in day 11 of hitting Iran, and the Dems back Iran. So let's get started. An update on the Canadian wildfires, and we hope the smoke stays out of the U.S. Currently in Canada, they have about 4,000 wildfires that have burned down 7.4 million acres. And now let's talk about Bertha. So we have Bertha to impact Louisiana and Texas beginning today. Currently, Bertha is in this area off of the coast. Well, it's much closer to the coast. We'll take that one out. And is winds of 50 miles per hour. Pressure continues to drop, indicating it's intensifying to 997 millibars. It's moving west at 5 miles per hour. Predicted to hit New Orleans today, with Galveston down to about Sargent Beach, to feel wind and rain today. Now, this is to produce, according to the National Hurricane Center, on land in Louisiana, New Orleans, and also Texas, winds of about 35 miles per hour and about 4 inches of rain. Currently in the county where I live, Brazoria County, we have tropical storm warnings for the lower part of Brazoria County, Lake Jackson, Freeport, down to Sargent Beach. So that's Texas, Louisiana today and Texas will begin to feel the winds today, Wednesday, with the tropical storm Bertha to impact Texas tomorrow. Now, there is a second possible thunderstorm, tropical storm developing. Part of Bertha is this area right here, currently in the Gulf of America, that's offshore from the U.S., and that's why we're not going to have catastrophic weather events from the current tropical storm Bertha. However, in this second half of Bertha, that's in the Gulf of America, has a second area that could become another center. So it's rotating. I'm not sure if it develops, if it would then continue under the name of Bertha or would become a third tropical storm system for the U.S. Also today in Houston, much of Texas is under a heat dome. We can expect actual temperatures of 104 with a feel like of 111 to 115 degrees Fahrenheit. So that's going on. And we have this from Breitbart. The Dems, the socialist Dems, apparently support Iran, with several of them joining an online stream, Progressive Victory, where the participants lamented that the U.S. taking down Iran would deprive money from Iran's proxies, Hamas, the Houthis, and Hezbollah. Some of these Dems have been...
Okay, we got 9 minutes left on the second, Billy. Everybody, the people that came in late, I played a 12-minute, very important video. A guy did the five names on a list of who was going to get arrested first, and Obama was on the first. So you might have to go back and see the beginning.
Identified, according to Breitbart, as Representative Ro Khanna, Democrat, California, former Dem from Missouri, Representative Cori Bush, and also an individual recently endorsed by the Democrat Party running for a Senate position, Abdul al-Sayed. These Dem socialist communists support Iran. And we have this. It also includes in New York City a recent endorsement by the current New York City Mayor Mondami, Avila Chevalier. She also supports Iran against the United States of America. And we saw Mondami on TV this morning saying that New York City does not have the authority to arrest Benjamin Netanyahu coming to New York City today or tomorrow for a UN meeting. That's something I put out recently. Benjamin Netanyahu has an arrest warrant issued for him by the ICC, an international court system to which the U.S. has not signed on. And I said Mondami does not have the legal authority to arrest Benjamin Netanyahu with a warrant under the ICC to which the U.S. has not signed on. He came out and said that, but then he encouraged President Trump to sign the U.S. into ICC and arrest Benjamin Netanyahu. So we see the Dems going full stop commie and also full stop anti-Israel. So that's going on. Yeah, these Dems participated in an online stream by Progressive Victory and indicated that they supported Iran and support Iran's support their money going to their proxy terrorist groups, Hamas against Israel, the Houthis against Saudi Arabia, and Hezbollah against Lebanon and Israel. So it's good to wake up and know exactly where you are politically today. We have this from U.S. Intel. The conflict between Ukraine and Russia is now impacting oil giants Chevron and Exxon, as they also secured oil out of Kazakhstan. Kazakhstan was shipping their oil through the Caspian Sea and into the Black Sea, which is now being hit by Ukraine. So Kazakhstan is, by the end of this week, will stop exporting oil, which will impact Chevron and Exxon. We have this AI Claude jumped its fence. So AI Claude was being developed, that's the Anthropic AI, in a secured building not connected to the internet. But somehow AI Claude was able to jump its fence, get out of that building enclosure, and infiltrate itself into a competitor, Honeywell. So what can we say about AI? Computer experts say that AI, and let's be clear, what this AI Claude system did had not been programmed into it by its creators, by Anthropic, but it's an AI system that learns. And it learned how to get out of its building, infiltrate another AI system. Computer scientists say AI was exploiting what's called 0 day. So that's going on. Skynet, baby, coming right up. And we have this.
4 minutes.
So yesterday, the U.S. military in against Iran, day 11, continued many significant hits across Iran, including its capital, Tehran, and all along the south coast to degrade Iran's ability to fire upon ships near the Strait of Hormuz. And we have from Tusi TV, the U.S. hit also Tabriz, Sirik, Bandar Abbas, Chabahar, and other locations inside Iran last night. Now, it was believed that the U.S. was moving B-1B bombers from the U.K. to possibly hit last night in Iran, Pickaxe Mountain, under which we understand, or it's believed, Iran has consolidated its juiced up uranium. That the U.S. did not hit Pickaxe Mountain last night. So we'll have to see what else is going to be going on. And we have this, sadly today, President Trump would go to Dover, as we have 4 Americans in their coffins returning from Iran. And we have this. The U.S. also hit new locations in Iran it has not previously hit, including Marshan and Bakahan. So that happened last night. And we have this. They also made 5 hits on Parchin, another Iran uranium site. The attacks yesterday by the U.S. began about 2 to 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And that in Tehran, the capital, Iran turned on its air defense system. The U.S. also hit a new location in Iran, Abdaman. So that's going on. And we have this last night from New York Prepper. Parchin was hit with 5 explosions. And other locations it hit. Abu Dan was a new location. It also again hit Bandar Abbas, Kandarak. And so that's going on. And we have this. In Ukraine, we saw in the past week Zelensky removing his Minister of Defense, Fedorov, who had brought about the use of technology and Ukraine's use of drones that appeared to have been successful in destroying Crimea and also making deep hits inside Russia. There was a conflict between Fedorov, the Minister of Defense, and Zagorski, the head of the Ukraine military. Zelensky fired Fedorov. Then there have been mass protests. And so then late yesterday, Zelensky also fired Zagorski. He's being replaced by Mikhailov Dompadel. So that's going on. This concludes my update. I love you, and I'll see you soon.
All right. We got 2 done. One from yesterday and one from today so far. I got 2 cat lady ones, but I don't want to play the one she had last night because her dog. It was too sad to play that one. Saying the tumor's getting very bad. But I'm going to play 2 today she has. And I got 2 10-minute Kennedy and Pete from yesterday.
Upset. But I got on TikTok this morning and I was looking. You know what I didn't find? No matter how hard I looked, I didn't find not one white person on TikTok making fun of the black boy that drowned. I didn't find one white person doing a dance, grabbing their throat, throwing water on themselves, pretending to drown and laughing about it. I didn't find one white person pretending to go to a grave or actually going to a grave of the black boy that drowned in Mississippi and pissing on it. I did. I searched. I looked. I even put in the search bar, white person pretending to make, or white person making fun of black boy that drowned in Mississippi and celebrating it. No such thing came up. Isn't that odd? That's really odd, isn't it? But us white people, we're just such horrific racists. We're such horrible, horrible people. I guess there's like a secret account for all of us white racist people that we make these videos that nobody else can see. Is that what's going on? You know, they done got the reverend and all that involved in that. They saying that they're offering a $100,000 reward for information that leads to the arrest of that black boy that drowned. Now they're trying to say that his white friends that knew him from grade school did it. They've had protests. They've shut down places. And not one white person is on this app that I've seen. Have y'all seen them? If so, tag me. Not one white person has been to that boy's grave, pissed on it, laughed, made little dancing gifts, made memes, celebrated it. Am I just looking in the wrong place? Hey guys.
Okay, one more.
Messages. You've all been so kind. I am unable to function today, so I'm going to be working from home. I wanted to let everybody know that I guess for me crying to the point where I couldn't catch my breath, I had to call my regular vet in Mississippi and let him know what happened because Lucy started throwing up and couldn't stand up at around 5:30. So I rushed her to a local vet here to go ahead and put her down because I couldn't stand her. Her head was rolled back and I didn't want her to keep suffering. I've cried until I think there's no more tears left, but I know that there are. And I think from the sadness and the unbelievable gut-wrenching pain, the vet actually called me back this morning. And I don't know if they're just feeling bad, but he said he's redid his estimate. And to remove Caesar's tumor, instead of $825, which I don't have, so I didn't know what I was going to do, he's going to do it for $325. So I'm going to, starting tomorrow, I'll be working every night till 11 o'clock at night because I've got it scheduled for next Wednesday and I'm going to bust my ass to do this. I've also got to pay for Lucy's cremation. I'm not putting her in the ground. You don't put something in the ground, or I don't, that I've had for 15 years, and her best friend is on my mantle. I wanted to let you guys know that about Caesar. I know that this tumor is going to go back, okay? But I cannot go have him euthanized when he's running, jumping, playing, eating. He's doing great. You tell me how you put an animal down like that. Once it starts going back, then I'm going to have to make that decision. And it's going to be a tough one. There's a lot going on in my life that nobody knows about because I don't put all my business on TikTok. But it's hit after hit after hit. A lot of bad stuff has happened lately. You ever feel like you're just living, you're just surviving, like you're just literally, there's no pleasure in life anymore, like you're literally just getting up so you can work to pay bills? And we're not the only ones because my vendor that's overseas said she's going through the same thing. I'm so tired of waking up just to try to survive. I'm ready for things to get better. I want to thank you all again. And for everybody that's messaged me and said you're sending cat food, do you know that you are directly having an impact on me being able to get Caesar surgery? Because if you're all sending cat food, I don't have to buy cat food this week. Anybody want a cat? Anybody? Especially this one. This is Blanche. She is nothing but trouble. Blanche opens up the air fryer, pulls out the eggs that I fry for the dogs, that boil them in the air fryer, pulls them out and throws them on the floor while they're hot. So then the dumbass dogs come up and try to grab the hot eggs on the floor. Oh, I've done everything to keep off the counter. I have done everything. She also is probably the reason that Lucy declined because she was climbing in my blinds in my bedroom, ripping my blinds down. I go to swipe her with a pillow, and the momentum of the pillow, Lucy stood up on the bed at the same time, and I flung her off the bed. Blanche is nothing but a troublemaker. She gets violent when she's trying to eat. But what are you going to do? You got to love them, right? Thank you guys from the bottom of my heart. Thank you so much. Oh, yeah, whatever, Blanche. Hey, guys.
So that's some good news there. So there is people that you have to search to find the right vet to help pay for the operation. And so we'll be praying for her dog. Hopefully she'll come out of it good. So we got 2 P videos with Kennedy.
Fight to lower costs and stand firm to protect the Second Amendment. Vote Andrew Beeler for State Senate.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you all for being here today. General, in the war between Russia and Ukraine, who do we want to win?
Sir, I want Ukraine to win.
Is Russia America's friend?
I'm sorry, sir, I couldn't quite hear you.
Is Russia America's friend?
Very hard.
I think that depends on your definition of friend. I think it's a complicated relationship. But no, I don't think they're our friends.
Thank you. If we could cut off Russia's cash flow, which depends substantially on its sale of oil, would that help Ukraine win?
So I think militarily, anytime you can restrict resources and cash flows against an adversary,
General, I
that's a
have
good
so
thing.
much respect for you.
Yes, sir.
But I have so little time.
Yes, sir. I'll try to be
Just
briefer.
Give me succinct answers.
Yes, sir. It would assist a.
Would help, wouldn't
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. If we could stop people, entities, and countries from buying Russia's oil, that would help cut off its cash flow, wouldn't it?
Yes, sir.
We have a bill to do that, as I'm sure you're aware. We have the votes today to pass it overwhelmingly. I also have enormous respect and admiration for our majority leader, Senator Thune. But I hope everybody on this panel will today contact Senator Thune and ask him to bring that bill to the floor. We should vote on it at a minimum of next week. Some of my colleagues, General, want America to just stop in Iran. End the blockade, bring all of our warriors home. What would be the consequences of that, in your estimation?
Sir, I think termination criteria is always a political decision. However, I assess that Iran will continue to be a challenge moving forward. So we have to be thoughtful.
Will they
about
put tolls on the strait?
I don't know, sir. That's a decision that's a hypothetical and will depend on what happens
It's not
in the future.
hypothetical. We've got a blockade to stop them.
We do, sir. That's
General,
putting
I want you to
economic
look me in
pressure
the
on
eye.
Iran.
I'm not asking you for, I'm not trying to get you in trouble. I know your advice to the president is private, but this is serious as 4 heart attacks and a stroke. Now, what happens if we come home and end the blockade to the world?
Sir, Iran has the potential to continue to be a threat, and we will need to prepare military
Will they
options to
toll
do
the
that.
strait?
Sir, that's a hypothetical question, and I don't know the answer to that.
Oh, it's not hypothetical. We come home. It's not going to be hypothetical. You know that, General, and I do too. And I appreciate your discretion, but we're down to it. We need some hard answers and some straight talk. What'll happen, Pete?
Senator, I would agree with the chairman, but the likely outcome is they would try to impose their will on the waterways in ways that the world would not like. Call it a toll, call it a fee, call it an exchange, call it control. They would do something that they would try to hold it at issue. Yes, sir.
Would they try to commence development again of a nuclear warhead?
Part of the reason President Trump had to have the courage to do what he did after Midnight Hammer is that they didn't give up their ambitions, even though their nuclear sites had been obliterated. So this is a regime hell-bent on nuclear ambitions, and
Guys,
President
we
Trump's
need
been willing to
straight
go after it.
answers. We need straight answers. Do we have the ability to destroy whatever is underneath Pickaxe Mountain?
Senator, a lot of our capabilities are classified, but if anybody in the world can reach anything on God's green earth, it's the United States military, the most powerful military in the world. It's all about options and trade-offs.
All right. I'm going to take a little extra time because others got it, Madam Chair. I won't abuse it. Secretary, are shrimpers farmers?
Absolutely, yes. There are farmers of the sea.
Are oyster harvesters farmers?
Yes. In this USDA,
They
yes.
having to compete with other countries who grow oysters and shrimp in a ditch and shoot them full of antibiotics?
100% yes.
And if you eat too much of that foreign shrimp and oysters, you'll grow an extra ear, won't you?
I'm not sure about that, but I know it is not good. And I also know we
Why
import
aren't we
90% of our
inspecting
shrimp.
the shrimp and the oysters from abroad?
Well, it goes much larger than that. Why are we importing so much from abroad, which goes to the president's trade agenda?
I'm in big trouble.
Yes, you are.
Guys, look, we need straight answers now. We're down to it.
They don't believe.
Yeah, I got the second one is 10 minutes.
In the war between Russia and Ukraine, who do we want to win?
Sir, I want Ukraine to win.
Is Russia America's friend?
I'm sorry, sir, I couldn't quite hear your question.
Is Russia America's friend?
I think that depends on your definition of friend. I think it's a complicated relationship. But no, I don't think they're our friends.
Thank you. If we could cut off Russia's cash flow, which depends substantially on its sale of oil, would that help Ukraine win?
I think that was the same one, you guys. All right, we'll move on. I got what I got next. I think a 15-minute one. I got 3 Trish and 3 Benny coming still. Let me know if you guys want to listen to this one.
But you just do it over and over and over again. But sooner or later, you just got to write it down and look at it and have it bitch slap you upside the head.
I don't normally play him. Sorry about that one, you guys. We're going to do the gym report. Get the big ones out of the way. 25.
2026. Hello, I am John Michael Chambers, and this is your daily report. I ask you to listen with love, as where we go one, we go all.
Right, 23.
Please join us in our newly released Fireside Chat Monthly coming this July.
It said an hour ago. This has got to be a new one, you guys.
The following report has been provided in part by Guardian.
Okay, there you are. Hi,
War
Mom.
Report, Strategic Analysis, the Juridical Architecture of Executive Orders, the Executive Leverage within Subterranean Operations, the Constitutional Definition of Presidential Decrees, the Enforcement Domain of Title 10 U.S.C., and the International Scope of the UCC, Insolvency Grid, Military Juridical Operational Design, Executive Enforcement Doctrine. The reveals keep coming. Let's break this down. Definition and executive enforcement within martial law. An executive order is a legally binding directive issued directly by the President of the United States to federal agencies in the military footprint, completely bypassing the statutory requirement for congressional or Senate authorization. It derives its constitutional baseline from the President's authority as Chief Executive and Commander-in-Chief under Article 2 of the U.S. Constitution. Within the context of active continuity of government protocols, universal martial law, and the parameters governed by the DoD Law of War Manual, these decrees deploy an uncompromising velocity. While conventional periods of peace rely on civilian departments for execution, The current transitional corridor shifts enforcement exclusively into the military jurisdiction under Title 10 USC and national emergency provisions. All logistical, data, and asset transactions reside beneath the direct command of the Commander-in-Chief. Operative execution in the field relies on the Special Ops Pocket Guide and signature reduction frameworks, enabling the 60,000-strong shadow army to foreclose deep state operations without civilian judicial interference. Number two, the transnational scope of the UCC insolvency cascade. Although formally designed as a domestic administrative instrument, an executive order commands a global reach through the interconnectedness of international commercial law. The domestic layer within the United States, these decrees operate to administratively isolate and systemically drain the illicit structures of the legacy U.S. corporation established in D.C. in 1871, parking the compromised legislative branch inside a functional vacuum. The international layer. Utilizing international emergency statutes, such as the International Emergency Economic Powers Act, IEEPA, the decree engages the global financial infrastructure. Once the president designates an adversarial entity or foreign corporate proxy under a national emergency, its asset base is automatically frozen within the gold-backed quantum financial system and filtered via Basel III compliance. Because all foreign subcorporations are linked via commercial law, UCC, Uniform Commercial Code, to the parent hub in Washington, the decree enforces a synchronous receivership cascade across all subordinate proxy administrations. Number three, strategic rationale for Trump's extensive use of decrees. The calculated and extensive deployment of these presidential directives by President Donald J. Trump follows the optionless geometry of fifth-generational warfare, circumventing compromise frameworks because civilian legislative assemblies and judicial benches were generationally infiltrated by the transnational cartel. An orthodox legislative path to planetary liberation was a mathematical impossibility. Every initiative would have been terminated within statutory committees. Securing enforceable statutory hardware. President Trump utilized his constitutional window to embed these orders as unhackable legal anchor points within the system. Permanently tied to ongoing national emergencies, these operate within the current strategic window as the primary judicial guillotine to strip the commercial maritime law matrix and the bar guild of operational capacity, a reality underscored by the symbolic expiration of legacy Federal Reserve structures in the public eye. Conclusion? The executive order constitutes the primary tactical scalpel commanded by our commander-in-chief. It confirms that the alliance does not operate within an institutional vacuum, but utilizes the precise framework of statutory law to checkmate the legacy architecture. The presence of this enforceable hardware inside the engine room renders any assumption of an unmonitored, silent transition entirely illogical. The tracks are unalterably secured for the public phase of the global reset. The clockwork of legal liberation functions flawless.
I don't know why I do that. I try to get Dang it. Hang on a second. Uh, 19 minutes left.
Of legal liberation functions flawlessly. Strategic Analysis Report. The Allied Logistics Doctrine, the military safeguard during the financial transformation, the administrative maintenance of essential civilian infrastructure, the safeguarding of transnational commodity flows, and the tactical role of defense forces under systemic transition protocols. Military operational design, civil defense infrastructure blueprint. Let's unpack this. Number one, the juridical obligation of civilian structural stabilization. The progressive execution of the global systemic shift unfolds beyond conventional civilian awareness under the unyielding mandates of the international operational design. A foundational baseline within fifth generational warfare and the Department of Defense Law of War Manual dictates that the liquidation of an adversarial transnational matrix must at no point induce a operational collapse of vital life-sustaining infrastructures managed for the civilian population. The legacy system intended within its engineered demolition scenarios to trigger artificial utility blackouts and a severe fracturing of supply chains to existentially extort the populace and freeze Allied progression. Within the ongoing transitional corridor, however, this threat vector is now physically neutralized through the precise planning of the Allied Logistics Doctrine. Deploying the armed forces at the exact moment of the open systemic transition when the fraudulent, unbacked SWIFT network and central banking ledgers are erased and replaced via the asset-backed quantum financial system, serves not as an act of repression, but as the administrative stabilization of daily routine. Operating beneath continuity of government protocols, the military functions as the unhackable bedrock that guarantees uninterrupted flow of commodities, energy utilities, and food resources. Number two, the four-dimensional mechanics of Allied asset security. The operational deployment of this logistical protection infrastructure within the engine room of the world stage executes over clearly defined militarily secured tracks anchored inside the Special Operations Pocket Guide. Securing tactical transit hubs, maritime ports, cargo airports, rail networks, and major freight distribution centers are covertly placed beneath the protection of Allied units and decentralized local authorities. Any capacity of the dying cartel to deploy engineered resource or food scarcities as a tactical weapon against the populace is physically terminated. Market stabilization via logistical consistency. While Trump's executive orders 13818 and 13848 freeze the illicit wealth of the elites in the shadows, Allied logistics ensure that physical commodity availability inside consumer markets continues within its accustomed operational rhythm. The unconditioned masses perceive the immense systemic shift as a phase of absolute stability, while the legacy maritime law and fiat infrastructures are processed fluidly inside a legal vacuum. Neutralization of cyber distribution scarcities. The asset-backed orbital quantum communication grid Starlink and the detachments managed via U.S. Cyber Command intersect with the tactical blueprints of the fourth PSYOP group, to completely block any adversarial attempts to manipulate the logistical software governing public utilities via engineered cyber strikes. Communication vectors reside unalterably upon a 5.5 frequency status. Number 3, the GESARA Abundance Protocol as tangible anchor. The physical safeguarding of global supply lines managed by the armed forces constitutes the mandatory logistical launchpad for the ubiquitous deployment of the GESARA wealth model. An asset-backed financial architecture can only break into daily routine once the physical security of foundational resources is unassailably anchored within the local environment. Upon the verification of the final transitional trigger, the protocol of Allied broadcasting supremacy engages. The populace is provided with empirical confirmation via decentralized, militarily secured channels that the migration to the general land law of sovereigns was executed under the absolute protection of the defense forces. The presence of this unhackable hardware inside the engine room exposes the current visible volatility, such as the spectacular collapse of European corporate proxy regimes, as the highly structured, calculated finale of a pre-planned blueprint. Conclusion: the Allied logistics doctrine delivers the material guarantees that the liberation of the human family executes in absolute security and structural dignity. The monopoly of engineered crises and structural sabotage scenarios managed by the deep state is completely shattered within the shadows of Allied operational design. The intersection of executive martial law and military civil defense terminates the era of existential extortion, anchoring the uninterrupted transition into planetary abundance upon a mathematically optionless baseline. The clockwork, once again, of Allied logistics functions flawlessly.
The forgotten 1950s olive habit for staying slim.
All olives actually start off green, but as they ripen, they get blacker and blacker. In fact, olive producers like...
All right. Strategic Analysis Report, the Geometry of Nuremberg 2.0, the military juridical blueprint of retributive justice. The structural parallels between the Allied tribunals of 1945 and modern military courts, the implementation of the DoD Law of War Manual, and the dissolution of civilian immunities, international juridical operational design, military criminal structural purification. Let's unpack that. Number 1, the historical continuity of the Allied tribunal mandate. The deployment of a global military judicial framework to adjudicate transnational offenses follows a highly structured, historically verified operational model. Just as in 1945 during the historic Nuremberg trials, Nuremberg 1.0, the Allied defense forces within the current transitional corridor face the operational necessities of completely bypassing a thoroughly compromised, subverted, and collapsed civilian legal structure. The legacy bar guilds and statutory benches governing insolvent corporate proxy states have completely foreclosed their international legitimacy through decades of institutional compliance with the commercial strawman matrix. The definitive tactical lever for the migration toward Nuremberg 2.0, coming soon, resides within the unalterable activation of the Department of Defense Law of War Manual. Again, chapters 11 through 12. You can read these. Visit jmcbroadcasting.com under Resource Guide page. This public international law manual, managed by the Pentagon, dictates with mathematical precision that under conditions of active Allied receivership and the engagement of continuity of government protocols, civilian statutory courts drop all enforcement capacity. The military functions not as a political faction, but as the unhackable enforcement arm of the constitutional order, thoroughly clearing the legal vacuum generated by the expiring two definitive structural parallels. Nuremberg 1.0 versus Nuremberg 2.0. The game theoretic analysis of the Allied blueprint confirms that the modern executive legal framework precisely mirrors the parameters of the historical precedent while exponentially expanding its capacity via fifth generational war.
Okay, we got 9 minutes, and I got a very big cash video coming up on Omar, you guys. Very big one.
Fair metrics. The dissolution of civilian immunity, as established within the London Charter of 1945, modern military jurisdiction recognizes zero statutory immunity for official actors. Any fictional diplomatic or parliamentary protections claimed by entities inside the central casting theater collapse instantly upon the physical interception under the Title 10 USC, the doctrine of crimes against humanity. While Nuremberg 1.0 historically codified this baseline, Nuremberg 2.0 encompasses the entire transnational infrastructure of the present era. The architects of systemic trafficking rings, non-consensual biometric tracking programs, and the predatory engineering of unbacked fractional reserve fiat systems. Each offense is structurally betonierate, B-E-T-O-N-I-E-R-T, within the over 600,000 sealed indictments. Forensic hardware seizure. Physical prosecution relies upon unassailable evidentiary baseline. What constituted mounds of captured documentation in 1945 has materialized in June 2026, as the entirely mirrored and secured server infrastructures of the NSA and Cyber Command, captured via the Allied Quantum Software Deployment Code name, Mythos, M-Y-T-H-O-S. Perpetrators stand before Allied military tribunals inside a mathematically optionless environment.
If you use xylitol, you'll stop cavity-causing bacteria from forming. If you use xylitol plus hydroxy...
Almost
software.
over.
Number 3, cognitive optimization via broadcasting supremacy. The fundamental divergence from historical tribunals lies within absolute orbital and frequency supremacy commanded by the present alliance. The dying cartel utilized its remaining media covers until the final hour to obfuscate the reality of ongoing tribunals and anchor the populace inside a state of cognitive inertia. This media shield is completely shattered via the deployment of American quantum dominance and the Emergency Broadcast System, EBS. As explicitly decreed via the White House temporal marker, music is about to stop, civilian broadcast frequencies are abruptly overridden. The judicial verdicts, sworn confessions, listen up, the judicial verdicts, sworn confessions, and unedited evidentiary logs of Nuremberg 2.0 will be streamed fluidly into daily routine via the unhackable orbital quantum satellite matrix. Share this broadcast with your friends. This coordinated cognitive shock serves to permanently recalibrate the collective consciousness, immunizing the human family against any future vectors of institutional subversion. So the conclusion, the deployment of Nuremberg 2.0 delivers the optionless international legal closure of this entire strategic cycle. The transnational cartel is irreversibly ensnared within the military and legal net commanded by the alliance. The unstoppable flow of the Allied justice cascade executes in complete alignment with the laws of physical and historical reality. The collective mind can observe the ongoing structural volatility with absolute dignity as the clockwork once again of military retribution functions flawlessly. Thank you, Guardian Daniel R. Be sure to watch our 2 new broadcasts here at JMC Broadcasting.
Okay, our war report for today. Now I'm going to do the big 21 with Cash and Omar. Then I got, I think, 3 Trish videos and 3 Vinny videos, plus all my short ones still to come.
Whether you're a professional technician or simply take pride in maintaining your own.
The woman who received the most taxpayer money from daycare reimbursements in Minnesota last year just pleaded guilty to fraud.
So as fraudsters get convicted and learn actions have consequences in 2026 America, someone else is on the run. And that someone is Representative Omar, who's now refusing to answer questions about her $30 million net worth drop. Meanwhile, scams just like those in Minnesota seem to be expanding across the country, revealing that what many people thought was just an isolated incident is actually a scheme to plunder all of America.
5 months after she shut down her daycare, booked a flight to London, and was arrested by the FBI.
Ms. Mahmoud, are you here to plead guilty today? Since your net worth dropped on the new forms, the new financial disclosure forms, could you tell us if your husband still has the consulting business and the wine business?
This guy who was arrested was allegedly one of the orchestrators of the massive Feeding Our Futures fraud scheme, and his name came up a lot during the trial of the now convicted ringleader of the scandal, and that trial also exposed multiple communications they had with Congresswoman Ilhan Omar's staff.
And how come you guys are the daycare that receives the most amount of money here in Flushing, Queens?
We have a lot of members.
How many members do you guys have?
I don't have to tell you.
Because here it says you guys have 7,899. Oh, it's actually from the public databases of CMS and HHS. Are you committing fraud?
It's not like a one-off. She has relationships with many of those who've been convicted or charged in this scheme. So I think it's absolutely relevant that we get to the truth of what those communications with her office were.
So if you tell the entire world and the U.S. government that you're worth $30 million and then you turn around and tell them you're not, something fishy going on here. But what nobody's talking about is while Ilhan Omar's office had direct contact with people who are now headed to prison, that type of behavior emboldens scammers all throughout our country. In fact, we're now witnessing scheme after scheme in sanctuary city after sanctuary city, while at the same time, average, hardworking Americans who obey the law are dealing with affordability issues never before experienced. While these communist politicians who say they care about you get richer than those they claim need to be punished. But it's not just the politicians who are allegedly enriching themselves, the scammers are too. They're voting Democrat, they're living large, they're taking luxury vacations, they're opening new clinics, and there are so many of them. But now these places are getting exposed, and that's terrible news for the corrupt interests who, at a minimum, enable the existence of these fraud compounds by using emotional energy to tug at the hearts of Americans and make us feel like we're not doing our fair share, just so the scammers can get more of everyone else's money, or worse, directly communicate with these fugitives who are now behind bars, knowing that they're orchestrating such schemes, but turning a blind eye because it's convenient.
And now they're unionizing those folks, which now creates a separate flow of money. Union dues translate into political support. So it's basically political patronage.
But here's the real reason Ilhan Omar is back in the spotlight. Every single time somebody gets busted for something that may allegedly lead back to her, she revises her net worth. She's done it a couple of times now. It's very strange.
A financial disclosure showed that the estate of the Minnesota Congresswoman jumped from almost nothing to $30 million while in office. Then, amid all the scrutiny over her personal finances, Omar and her husband updated their financial disclosure to state that their estate was worth less than $100,000.
But as we're learning, she's not the only politician in America allegedly benefiting in some manner from fraud, or else we wouldn't see these schemes popping up all over the place in various sanctuaries like Queens, New York City, which is on the other side of the country, but also happens to be in a state which has been taken over by the communists, where the king of the Democrat Party is now remaking that city in the same manner with which they wish to afflict all of America. But before we look at some of these new schemes that are going to make your head spin, Ilhan Omar's in real trouble, and she knows it. Watch this.
Since your net worth dropped on the new forms, the new financial disclosure forms, could you tell us if your husband still has the consulting business and the wine business? I remember you were saying it was an accounting error before, but the new forms are even lower in terms of the net worth.
So in case you're confused, Ilhan Omar's net worth rose by 3,500% when Joe Biden was president. But now that people are getting convicted, now that there's a new sheriff in town, now that the country has an anti-fraud task force, it's come back down quite a bit. And if you had a business that could skyrocket your net worth 3,500% in just a few years, you'd probably keep that thing going, right? But here's where things get even worse. Watch.
Al also exposed multiple communications they had with Congresswoman Ilhan Omar's staff. For example, in February 2021, there was an email chain between Bach and Omar's office with the subject line, "Help with USDA food programs," the same programs that were targeted by the fraudsters for more than $250 million. A couple weeks later, Bach sent Idle an email with the subject line, Ilhan's office. There was also a string of text messages between Bach and Omar's staff. What did all of those messages say? Well, we don't know that because they were sealed by the court. And when Minnesota lawmakers investigating the fraud requested Congresswoman Omar to turn those records related to her office's contacts with individuals who've been charged or convicted in the scheme, she refused.
She refused. So she doesn't want anyone to know what messages were being sent, what they might contain, because the more people start digging into this stuff, the more wealth revisions she might have to end up doing, and that would be bad for business, wouldn't it? But while this type of behavior only fuels speculation about what's going on in this specific case, we're learning a lot about how these fraud networks operate by what's happening on the other side of the country. Watch.
And how come you guys are the daycare that receives the most amount of money here in Flushing, Queens?
You have a lot of. If you're sleeping in a position like this, you got to hear about this thing. Did you know your soft pillow is actually crushing your shoulder every members?
How many members do you guys have?
15 minutes. 15 minutes.
Because here it says you guys have 7,899.
Wow.
Oh, it's actually from the public databases of CMS and HHS.
So I have to tell you the number.
But this place doesn't look like it can hold 7,000 people.
ID or something? You're asking me some about.
Well, this is public information because it's public tax dollars that you guys are receiving.
I don't have to tell you, right?
Yeah, but do you guys have 7,000 members for instance?
That's crazy.
We don't have 7,000.
Oh, he admits it.
Okay, well, that's what it says. You have 7,899 in 2024. And
the people committing fraud in places like New York City, they don't even know how much fraud they're committing. It's so out of control. This business is licensed to have almost 8,000 people in it. Think about that. But look at what the sign on the wall says. Right over here, it says second floor occupancy by more than 177 persons is dangerous and unlawful. So the amount of people that are supposed to be in here is legally impossible and would cause this place to get shut down by the fire department.
so that's not true?
7,000?
Yeah. So you guys, are you guys overbilling then? Because you guys are getting paid per patient $1,600, and that's how you guys got $12.9 million in 2024.
I don't know. I don't know how they calculate.
You don't know how they calculate.
I don't remember all the numbers.
He doesn't remember all the numbers. He doesn't know how they calculate any of this stuff. But for some reason, he feels the need to get incredibly defensive and invasive, and he doesn't want to answer questions, and he doesn't want to talk, but he's taking this authoritative stance like he has answers. He just doesn't want to give them out. Do I have to tell you? Who are you? What are you doing here? How dare you investigate me? Yeah, it's not suspicious.
I don't remember all the numbers.
But did you have 7,000? I think you'd remember if you had.
No, I don't. We don't have 7,000 members.
We don't have 7,000 members.
How come you guys billed for 7,000 people then?
Do I have to tell you?
Well, you like $12.9 million on 7,000 patients, and you said there's not 7,000 patients. Are you committing fraud?
Oh, no.
Like, are these numbers wrong?
Please, sir.
$12.9 million. That's a
Now he
lot
has
of
to
money.
leave.
12.9 million. All right, we will leave. You could have just answered the questions. Now,
I said I don't want
now
to.
people are going to be wondering if you committed
I don't
fraud.
want to, but why you keep asking me? I said I don't want to tell you the information.
Yeah, that's not helping. You see, the thing with these fraudsters that is so amazing to me is they don't want to answer any questions. They don't care if they're obviously doing something wrong because they've been doing it for so long. That's why this is so brazen. That's why this is out in the open. This is not a brand new establishment that they're in. It's not full of brand new stuff. It wasn't just renovated. It didn't just pop up overnight. These schemes have been going on for a long time. These people have been doing this for a long time, not suffering with the affordability problems everyday law-abiding Americans have to deal with while scammers rob all of us.
Well, these are taxpayer dollars, so.
For what? So I don't have to tell you the.
We're sick of people defrauding our taxes.
Wow.
This guy received $12.9 million, and right here it says they had 7,899 patients.
But before you tell yourself that this is just a one-off, that, hey, they found some place where there's obviously something strange going on, people don't want to answer any questions, just look at how many of these establishments might be floating out around there in America's largest sanctuary city. You are not going to believe this.
Hey.
It's a family crisis that's unfolding in real time. A mother is patting her 10-month-old.
I sent you a video a while ago on Florida. It was breaking news.
Baby boy on the back after he starts choking on a piece of.
New York City, Flushing, Queens. We take you to the front lines wherever we're going. Here, social adult daycare centers, the biggest fraud you've never heard of. I walk through here and I wonder, how is it possible that you would have this many pharmacies in such close proximity to each other? And we're going to start counting. Are you ready?
Yeah.
Okay. So we got one here.
One right there.
Number two. Look at this. This is the durable medical equipment supplier. Those are all the things they sell, wheelchairs and automatic scooters. These are expensive. Then we have another pharmacy.
Yeah.
I'm losing track. Yeah. It's like a game show. You get a pharmacy. You get a pharmacy.
And we have a all-live social daycare right here.
Another social adult daycare center. But over here, we have a bunch more.
Look at that.
Across the street.
The whole neighborhood is pharmacies and places that sell medical equipment and daycare centers. That is incredibly bizarre. And look at the foot traffic on the street. You got a few people out there who are just going about their business, but you don't have 7,000 people going into this place and 10,000 people go. Like, there are so many red flags. Anybody who went here and even looked inside these places would know there's something funny going on. But there's a reason all of this is happening. It's because someone is benefiting from this type of mayhem. And we're going to look at exactly who that is. But before we do, check out this next business and tell me if the actions of the people getting investigated raise any red flags.
Fraud.
Give me a rough idea. How many patients do you see here, do you think, today?
That's per day?
Yes.
Today?
Yeah.
We have the registered already, but hold on. I have a phone call. Sorry.
Well, just give me a quick idea, because I think
Sure.
there's no one reading.
there's
the 40.
fake phone call.
Today,
A fake phone call.
Because you need
Just on average.
yeah, average.
Average.
50. We have 2 shifts. Yeah.
58 people.
Per shift.
Would it even be possible for you guys to have 8,000 different patients?
8,000?
Yes.
8,000 patients?
Yes.
Actually, I have an idea for that number.
Would it be possible to have 8,000 patients here?
That's crazy.
8,000 patients here when? I'm not sure.
Throughout the year.
Last year. Actually, I don't know. I have no idea for that.
Would it be possible for you guys who run this daycare to handle 8,000 different patients in 1 year? Theoretically.
This is so wild. So the people that work at these places,
How's it going,
they
Barry?
don't even comprehend the magnitude of the fraud that is being committed here. These companies, these offices, these adult daycares that are all over the place, they're billing so much money. It just blows the minds of the people that are there who don't see anywhere near 8,000 different people coming in the door at these operations. But there's a reason that that's happening. And that, once you understand what it is going to make it very easy to understand why there are so many of these schemes all over the place.
The boss, the owners, I'm not sure.
They don't know who owns it.
You must know who owns the business.
We just have the managers and the owners. I really don't know.
Have you ever met the owners?
No, not yet.
Oh,
Who's managing the business?
The director is the ladies. But I really don't know.
Doesn't know who they are.
You don't know who employs you?
No. I just hired them last month.
Well, who hired you?
The managers too.
And how long have you all been working here?
A month.
All a month? What happened to people who were here before last month?
I have no idea.
They all left?
Yeah.
So you have a business that's obviously been here for years, but the entire crew of people working there are all brand new people. The guy that's like in charge here with the Toyota t-shirt, he says he's been there a month. So has everybody else. Now, this is a little bit different than the other place we looked at where the guy doesn't want to answer any questions and is obviously somebody in a position of authority who knows a little bit more than they were willing to reveal. But these folks, they claim they don't know anything. They claim they've all been there for 1 month. They don't know where all the old employees went. And this place obviously had employees working there before because look at it, it's not a brand new place. They didn't just build this place. It's not some brand new establishment. And wait till you hear what they say next.
Why would everybody leave in 1 month?
7 minutes. 7 minutes.
You mean the patient or the members?
The people working here. If you all started last month.
The staff.
The staff.
When I came here, I just met them, and they are already set up. So I really don't know about that.
And did you all started working here last month?
More than a month.
No.
Those are the veterans.
This lady and that lady's not.
A whole new staff.
So it sounds like you guys got a whole new staff here.
Why would they have a whole new staff every?
That's good how he breaks all this stuff down. We saw all that, but Cass really breaks down all this. Good. You got a lot of followers on this one.
Couple of months. Could that be because if anybody wants to come and do some sort of investigation, the investigators will learn nothing because the people working there know nothing? Check this out.
Care that had a pharmacy on one side and another medical facility on the other side, which goes to show the perfect example of a location that uses an adult daycare to carry out other forms of fraud.
And so
They're
they
all the
might
same.
be working together. Often that's the case. One of the clues we have is if the social adult daycare center is running a lot of other businesses, good example might be they're doing transportation. And so it makes us concerned. So this one was actually shut down, the original one, and didn't take long for another one to sprout right up again. This facility was shut down, back up again. It makes you wonder if the person that you went after was really the appropriate culprit, because maybe they're just, the frontline guy who's doing the beckoning of the boss. The minion here is following the orders of the Don. And when the Don says, okay, you're out of business, you move on to some other endeavor, I'll take care of you. Let's put new people in place of it. It's very hard for law enforcement to catch up.
So what they're doing is they have a whole bunch of these businesses, which in some cases may all be right next to each other, and they're moving their workforce around. You're working a little bit here at the adult daycare, and then a month later, hey, go to my transportation company. And then a month later, hey, go run my medical services. And they keep switching everybody up. So you got different people all over the place. This is like what they do at the Lockheed Skunk Works, where they got people on different floors working on different elements of the same project. And things are so micro compartmentalized that nobody really knows what anybody else is doing. And they don't understand that they're building some new stealth bomber or something. They have no idea. They're just making some little component or something. That's what's going on here. It's the same thing. You got this decentralized operation. So none of the people on the ground, if they're ever caught or interrogated, could divulge any of what the scam is up to. But now we got to get to who it is that might be benefiting from this. Obviously the people running it, but who else?
You realize there are much bigger powers at play. And the reason I started thinking that, and I think a lot of others are now, also sort of wondering the same questions I'm having, is how is it possible we let this happen?
Right.
Is this really a flaw in the system, or is it a feature? Are there good things that might happen if you're running government, if you have this kind of fraud? So in this case, these guys bring together all the seniors. They say, here's the deal. I'm going to give you some money, but I want you to pretend like you're getting personal care services at home. Now, personal care services, remember, these are things your family would do for you, right? So let's just say, for example,
there's a connection.
That you've got someone carrying the groceries for you, or driving you to an office, or taking care of some issues your family would normally manage for you. It's hard to police that. Mm-hmm. But what it does do is it creates jobs. So now all of a sudden you've got basically the federal government hiring people to take care of all the people who come out of here. And all those services, although the state initially pays for them, the federal taxpayer picks up the tab. That's who pays the ultimate bill. And now you have a jobs program. Listen carefully. The most common job in the state of New York by twofold is personal care services that are hired when you go to one of these programs. Think about that. Twice as many jobs as any in the entire state are created by personal care services, and now they're unionizing those folks, which now creates a separate flow of money. Union dues translate into political support, so it's basically political patronage.
And it's the most popular job.
Watch what eggs do to your cat's body. Wet food or dry food? It's the question I've heard from cat parents for more than 50 years, and the real answer almost always catches them off.
In the entire state, by twofold, he says, which means the entire state's economy in New York is built on fraud and is being supported by the rest of America. And then these places unionize. And which politicians do they support? You think they're going to go out there and support the politicians that want to see investigations? You think they're going to go out there and support a president and a vice president who want to crack down on fraud and save the rest of America money? Not at all. And that's at a minimum. At a maximum, there are politicians who know about this and know that it's going on and plan to allow it to happen and are in direct coordination with fraudsters, as is alleged in the case of Representative Omar, who had a 3,500% net worth boom and then a drop of equal magnitude. But check this out. I saw a map here the other day of states that are driving economic growth in America. And I was looking at it. You have Florida down here, 3.1% economic growth, South Carolina. These are like the two leaders in the country. North Carolina's doing really well. But what stuck out to me is you have New York at 2.9%, California, 2.5%, right? So these states apparently are leading economic growth in America for some reason. But then we find out that the most popular job, the biggest job sector and biggest part of the economy in New York over here is this home personal care. So yeah, there's economic growth. They hire more and more personal care. More and more of these fraud-related businesses are opening up all the time, and that's driving economic growth. But it's actually all supported by the rest of the country. The rest of the country is paying for these numbers. So you're going to hear people that say during this midterm election cycle, oh, New York, I mean, we got robust economic growth, 2.9%. one of the leading states. They say all our jobs are going to Florida. We're doing just as well as Florida's doing. California, same thing. We socialists know how the economy runs. We know everything. But the reality is these economies are being subsidized by every American. If you were to take that subsidy away and get rid of all those jobs, the numbers would not look like this. So you have fraudulent economics in these places, which is propping them up and will be used as a talking point to tell you that you should get out there and vote for more of this so that more of it can happen, so that we can have more socialism, so that more of your money can be taken away and given to people who are scamming, who say they have 8,000 people, different people that visit a room the size of the room I'm in right now. What do you think about that? See you in the next.
All right, we got our 4 big ones out of the way now. I got 3, maybe 4 Trish videos, and probably 4 Benny videos, and all my 20 other short videos still to come. We had those big ones we had to get out. So, yeah. So we're going to go ahead and get to, I think, Trish videos. What I got. Okay, yeah, well, yeah, I got 2 other ones off the Telegram. Big stuff. But we're going to get going on. Oh, wait. I got a 3-minute one I want to play first.
Which it recognizes may affect the election. That is key. But that was kept from President Trump. It should have been in the PDB. It wasn't. And just as a reminder, why would China prefer Joe Biden over President Trump? Why would they have that preference? Here's a clue.
I have many people from China that I do business with. They laugh at us. They feel we're fools. You know, they're getting away with absolute murder.
China's a great nation, and we should hope for the continued expansion.
I don't want to lose $300 billion a year to China when we can't afford to build schools for our children, when we can't afford to build highways, when we can't afford to build railways, when we can't afford to build bridges. I want money to be invested in jobs and in this country. I don't want to rebuild China.
A rising China is a positive development, not only for China, but for America and the world writ large.
It was China's fault, and China's going to pay a big price what they've done to this country. China's going to pay a big price what they've done to the world. This was China's fault, and just remember that.
554,064 American dead from COVID-19. A lot of families want to know how this happened, how it got here. Have you had a chance to speak to any of your international partners, any of President Xi, who I know you go way back with? Have you had a chance to ask him if these reports are true that China maybe misled the world at the beginning?
No, I have not had that conversation with President Xi. Thank you.
Oh, liar.
Kind of makes perfect sense why they preferred Joe Biden. And why wasn't that a huge scandal? I mean, the drumbeat about Russia, Russia, Russia. Here's a couple of other things we should know and remind us how Joe treated China. Remember that balloon? Remember the balloon? Remember this thing?
Yeah, whatever happened to that?
It sailed over the country, and Joe didn't do a damn thing about it. It went all the way from China over our most sensitive military bases, and Joe did not shoot it down until it was safely over the Atlantic Ocean. I think that thing was a menace. But you got to remember this. Why would they want, again, Joe Biden? $250,000, James Comer's committee wired directly to the Biden household in Wilmington, Delaware. James Comer came up with that. Also, overall, the Oversight Committee determined that China paid the Biden family at least $3 million. Okay? So the weaponization that we saw was like their weaponization of omission. They didn't tell this. They kept it out of the presidential daily briefing. They kept it out of the reports where it should have been. And some people, I can tell, are feeling very, very guilty.
Well, finally we heard something. Newsmax report, 3 minutes.
Are appealing. That is not appealing.
This is a problem. I mean, look, I mean, they've made
10
such
minutes,
an
guys.
effort, right, to import all this extremism here to the United States of America. And now they're left scratching their heads saying, what are we going to do? I mean, it's bad when the senator, Democratic senator from Virginia, gets asked a question this morning by my friend Joe Kernan. He is great, by the way, on Squawk Box in the morning, and he's a real conservative. And it's great because, you know, I don't know how you can be a business news reporter, by the way, and not be a conservative, for goodness sakes, because, you know, we care about the bottom line, which is we want economic success and we want military success, right? That's sort of what is kind of important to those people in markets and in business. Anyway, Joe Kernan is there, and he asked Senator Mark Warren from Virginia, hey, you know, what about Zohran Mamdani and his plan to arrest Netanyahu? What do you think of that? And look at Mark Warner's response. You can tell this guy is terrified. This is a big problem for the Democrat Party. Take a look.
Do you support Michigan Senate candidate Abdul El Sayed?
I have stayed out of all of these races. I'm just not, you know, I'm running myself this year. I'm trying to get reelected myself in Virginia.
Mark Warner doesn't want to say boo when it comes to Zohran Mamdani because he's so freaking afraid. He's terrified. He sees the direction everything is going with all the crazies running the asylum, and he just needs to stay alive another day, for goodness sake, so he can't answer this properly.
How about arresting Netanyahu
I do not
and doubling down on arresting?
I do not support defunding the police. I do support meaningful reforms on ICE so that we don't have the outrageous activities where these guys who are not.
Netanyahu should be at the Hague
but I tell you this
or in
much.
prison for war crimes. I mean, there's things that are
but
coming
I tell you
out.
this much. I fear for the fact, as a long-term supporter of Israel, that my kids have only grown up with Israel where Bibi has been the head, and I completely reject his government. I even voted against the effort to continue to allow the West Bank settlers to use American bulldozers to destroy homes. Bibi Netanyahu's done more to hurt the image of Israel than all prior Israeli leaders combined. And that's not good for Israel.
And what does that mean for what Mayor Mamdani has said about, specifically about trying to arrest Netanyahu when he comes to New York for the UN week in September?
Here it comes.
Listen, Andrew, there's been a lot of leaders that we all have disagreed with that have come to the UN that haven't been subject to, American legal jurisdiction. Now, I candidly have not been following the ins and outs of it. I've been actually following on trying to put some rational policies in place on things like AI and trying to push back against Chinese dominance in so many of these domains where we have technology competition. That's a better use of my time.
Senator Warner, always enjoy talking to you and look forward to seeing you again very, very soon. Thanks.
Okay, look, so the reporter's like, yeah, I'm on to you. I gotcha. He should have pushed him. He should have pushed him harder. But, it's access journalism, guys. That's look, I've worked in all these places. I've worked actually kind of like everywhere, including CNBC, where I hosted their #1 show, actually, alongside my friend Larry Kudlow for like 5 years. Anyway, at 11 a.m., it was called The Call. I'm just telling you, they are afraid to push and push and push to really get a real answer out of the guy because they know he won't come back on. Okay, so they're like, okay, I'm going to bite my tongue here. I won't keep pushing. But here's the reality on the ground. You've got all of these people trying to take over the party. You got this anti-Semitism that's on steroids all of a sudden, and Mamdani's really, kind of fanning this, if you would, fanning the flames of the fire. I want to go to Bernie Sanders, who's the original, right? I guess a self-hating Jew, if you would, because he's Jewish and he despises Israel and he wants to take away all money that we would ever give in kind for Israeli military support. Listen.
We must not give $1
nickel more of U.S. taxpayers to the extremist government in Israel. Not another nickel.
Okay, blaza, 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 blaza. Okay, they love you there, Bernie, for that one. So Bernie Sanders doesn't want to give any money. You know, we do give about $3.5 billion, and it was done over a decade. And the money actually is for purchasing of U.S. military equipment so that they can protect themselves and kind of be our, dare I say, hitman in the Middle East, right? There's a reason for it. You know, they're kind of doing our dirty work. And maybe people don't want to admit that, but it is in the U.S. interest to have some kind of cop over there in the Middle East. Otherwise, you're going to get a little bit of what we got going on right now, and you'll have a lot more of it, right? If it's all bedlam and Iran is just shooting at everybody. So Israel is helping us. We're helping them, and we look to them to be kind of the cop there in the Middle East. I mean, that's just the reality. We helped create Israel, okay? We created it. And now we're like, okay, we need it to run reasonably. And all these people want to kill each other for some reason. So who's going to be the adult in the room? And that's what the $3.5 billion is about. So everybody wants to cancel that. You know what else they want to do? They want to get rid of prisons. And they want to have healthcare for all, and they want to have education for all for free, you know, so you can get your PhD in transgender studies. And they want to have a basic universal income so that you never have to work. I mean, the list goes on and on and on. And yeah, it's gotten crazy. It's so crazy that even CNN's Van Jones is out there saying, I got to step in. And indeed he did. And he called out how crazy it was. And all of a sudden his phone was blowing up. Everybody's like, thank you, thank you, thank you. The Democrat Party is like, thank the Lord, right? Hallelujah. By gosh, darn it. Somebody's calling out the crazies, but I'll tell you, it's not going to do any good. He tries to blame it on Trump. He's all wrong on that front, but he's right that they got to get in front of this. Otherwise, I think it's going to be good stuff for us.
This phone has been blowing up all day. Governors from both parties, senators from both parties, Democrats in the House calling, thanking me for saying what everybody's been saying behind the scenes, which is that this stuff is going too far. I am a progressive Democrat. You want to talk about prison reform? I've done it as well as anybody, Republican Democrats in the South with Trump. I've done prison reform. I never said have no prisons. Where are you going to put the Klan? I've done police reform. I never said no police. Where are you going to put the pedophiles? Who's going to grab the pedophiles? This stuff is going too far. And part of the thing that has to happen is we saw what happened in the Republican Party when things started going in a nutty direction and nobody stood up. I am happy that the young people are fighting for affordability, Medicare for all the good things. I've been waiting my whole life to see a youth movement do what it's doing. But it's being hijacked by people who are putting in nutty ideas, supporting terrorists, nutty ideas saying that we don't need cops in prison. We can't deport anybody, even if they rape somebody. Who said this? Chevalier. Where did Chevalier?
Chevalier is going to be is yes. The Democratic nominee. DSA nominee for Congress now from the Bronx.
Yeah, one of the Mamdani backup singers, the one that believes America is responsible for 9/11. I mean, wow. This is sort of sick stuff. It's gotten so, I mean, I keep saying they did this to themselves because Donald Trump came out with some very, very sane policies, like, hey, you know, maybe, I'm just thinking maybe we ought to make sure that we don't open our borders up to millions of people coming in that we can't house and support. Maybe you actually ought to go through some kind of process to come to this country rather than come here illegally. That was legislation, by the way, that was very heavily championed by the Democrat Party for years and years and years. Why? Because they knew we couldn't be the welfare system for Mexico. For goodness sakes, that's a direct Dianne Feinstein from California, Democrat senator, quote, we can't be the welfare system for Mexico. So they used to get it. But as soon as Donald Trump came out and said, this is mine, I'm going to go with this, and this is my policy, then all of a sudden they flinched and they suddenly wanted open borders. And you see, every time he says something smart, they have to refute it because it's from Trump and they have TDS.
Okay, our first one. I'm going to come back and do her other two, but I got two other, a 5-minute one and a 3-minute one I need to get out. It's very important. I don't know if we can hear it or not.
If they ever spoke of it. Tonight, it is the state's top law enforcement officer doing the talking.
The public and many families
You guys hear it?
put faith in the Catholic Church and its leaders in ways that we do not trust other establishments. But when such trust is betrayed with abuse to children, and there are efforts to cover it up, the call for accountability should be resounding.
Trust was betrayed across all 6 Roman Catholic dioceses in Illinois, according to the Attorney General, churches from one end of the state to the other. And the extent of cover-ups, hideous conduct, and criminal acts just now becoming evident, according to this near 700-page investigative report unveiled today by the Attorney General's office.
Significantly, the analysis reveals that each Illinois diocese underreported the number of child sex abusers in the Catholic clergy when they initially released those numbers.
Raul says Illinois Roman Catholic Church officials had provided the names of 103 substantiated child sex abusers. Tonight, the stunning new number of clergy abusers identified by state investigators at nearly 500. And the total number of Illinois children known to have been abused by priests and other Catholic churchmen at almost 2,000. How did it happen so often and easily? State investigators placed the blame in the Joliet Diocese squarely on the late Bishop Joseph Imish, who moved abusers to new parishes without revealing their past and provided little or no help to survivors. Cardinal Blaise Supich tonight says Archdiocese of Chicago officials are studying the graphic report.
It goes back for me to my first years as a bishop 25 years ago. I sat across from a man who was in his 60s who told me a story, and I heard the voice of a 9-year-old kid who was abused. That has always focused me. It's never closure because there are many open wounds in the lives of people, and we want to attend to that. And we're not afraid to do that. We have done it for 30 years.
Tonight, after the former Joliet Bishop Joseph Imish was singled out by state investigators, the current Bishop of Joliet, referring to what happened there decades ago as unspeakable acts. New Bishop Ronald Hicks expressing profound remorse over the failures. Hicks observing tonight that some may think this was all over and commenting that no sin of such great magnitude as sexual abuse of minors should ever be forgotten.
Okay, we'll do Trump's 2-minute one here I just found.
They take such abuse and they do their job.
This is today.
And our strong borders are really, it's a policy of helping to bring down the cost of living. It really is. It's under Biden, over 60% of the increase in housing rental. The rental cost demand came from the flood of illegal aliens coming into our country. The government would pay thousands of dollars a month for apartments for illegal aliens, but for our warriors, for our ex-servicemen, for people that served in our military for 20 years and 25 years, and then they couldn't get into an apartment. They were living in the street. They didn't do anything, but they took care of illegal aliens, paying thousands of dollars a month in some of the most luxurious hotels in the country. It's crazy what they were doing. It's crazy. But thanks to our policies, the cost of rent is now down by more than 10% in a short period. And the Atlanta area, compared to the peak of the border invasion, I mean, these people were occupying all the apartments that the government was paying and they were never going to be great. They were never going to be, remember the word I made up, the caravans. They came in thousands and thousands came by caravan, and many murders were in these caravans. To stop the massive theft of taxpayer dollars, including by the millions and millions, we have launched the war on fraud, led by Vice President J.D. Vance. He's doing a great job. We ended Medicaid for illegal immigrants, and we redirected $50 billion to make the largest investment in rural health in the history of our country. You're getting hospitals built in areas just like this that the Democrats would never do. And number one, they said that's Trump country. We're not going to do anything. They wouldn't spend because we did. We got tremendous votes. In your whole state, we got tremendous. We won in a landslide.
Yeah, that was only 2 minutes.
We help.
We'll do a 5-minute one and then back to Trish and then Vinny's.
The other website that provides all of the data. What was provided is the total vote count at a certain time, and then the percentage that went to Trump and the percentage that went to Biden. That is all the data that was provided. The percentage that went to a third party was calculated. The number of votes that went to Trump was calculated. It's basically the total votes times the percentage that went to Trump. Same with Biden, the total votes times the percentage that went to Biden. And then the third party votes was derived from that data, as well as how much the third party has the vote count changed between each timestamp, how much the vote party percentage changed between that timestamp, and then also the same things for Trump, Biden, and then just the total change. Now, what I've highlighted here in yellow is every single time that the third party candidates, and there's a lot of them in Minnesota, it's not just one, but any time the third party overall vote went down, these are highlighted in yellow. And you'll notice that the percentage of it went down is pretty consistent, which we'll go over in a minute. But essentially, their strategy was to, I'm going to highlight the third party percentage here. So watch my mouse. So every single time votes came in, if that total got above 2.1% roughly, what they did is they adjusted it down by somewhere between 4 and 5%. So, for example, at this very early in the voting process, the third party votes were coming in at higher than 2%. So what they did is they knocked 645 votes off of the third party candidates, which was roughly a 5%, 4.9% change. Now, I don't know what happened to those votes, but I do know that they're no longer counted towards the third party, and it's like they're basically gone. Now, as we keep going, as results keep coming in, roughly it stays the same, 2%, 2.1%, 2.1%. But then what happened is this is actually just about to go to 2.2%, and what they did is they adjusted it down by 4 to 5% roughly, and the third-party candidates lost roughly 1,100 votes. Now the percentage started creeping up again, and then it got to more than 2.1, and it was adjusted down. This time it was adjusted down by 231 votes, just to keep it at the correct percentage. This kept happening. Every time it got above 2.1, they would adjust down by 1,300 votes, 1,400 votes, but it's always somewhere between 4 and 5%. That's how much the third-party candidates the vote total lost. Now, as we keep going, here we hit something super interesting. So the vote total had gotten so fast, so it went from 2.1 to 2.9, which is a huge jump. So what you'll see happen is the cheating algorithm, essentially we hit 3% and it had a major correction, brought it right back down to 2.1% again. And what that did is it stole 13,500 votes from the third party candidates in Minnesota, and they dropped the third party percentage. Like they stole 30%. That's almost a third of all of the votes that were going to the third party at that time, just gone. So their strategy here is to keep this number, the percentage of votes that go to the third party, at 2.1%. Now, you'll also notice that this keeps happening. Like this happened multiple times throughout the evening until there was one big adjustment, which is the second part of their strategy here. So I have it highlighted here, line 53. Where's it? This one. Now here what they did is I have it, I'm going to scroll to the right a little bit. What you're looking at here is this is a full down adjustment for all three major candidates. This was their total adjustment when their 2% strategy wasn't working to keep Biden the candidate. So what they did is, at this one major adjustment, the total number of votes from all candidates lost was 194,846. That's a huge number that was gone at that time. But what they did here is they took roughly 6,000 votes away from the third-party candidate, which was 13% at the time. They stole 107,000 votes from Donald Trump, which was approximately 12% of his total votes at the time. But to keep it looking fair, they stole only 81,000 votes from Biden. So that's only 7% of his total at the time. So this is their major adjustment. When the votes were so out of whack and it was so obvious that Biden was going to lose, they just got rid of a huge number of votes from all three candidates, but at different ratios so that Biden would still come out ahead. So, I mean, 81,000 versus 107,000, that's That's almost a 30,000 vote difference in terms of how many were taken away from one candidate versus the other. They absolutely stole this from, I think, from Trump. But really, the big losers in Minnesota here that their votes were really stolen was the third-party candidates. Now, I've already done the math. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to sort this by all of the votes that were stolen from the third party over the course of the evening. So this is every single time that they adjusted the numbers. They adjusted it a total of 23 times. If you see down here on the right, this sum, they stole 59,683 votes from third-party candidates. Now, I don't know if you remember or not, but the actual number of votes that third-party candidates were granted at the end of the evening was only 68,722. So 68,000 versus 50 plus the 59,000 stolen, that's 128,000 votes total for the third-party candidate. They stole 86% of the third-party voters in Minnesota. Now, I can't prove that they went to vote, that they changed the votes to Biden, but I can prove, using this numbers that's publicly available, that they kept the third-party vote at 2.1% and would not let it get higher than that. Let's look at the Trump numbers. They only did the one major adjustment to Trump that we've already talked about, and then they also adjusted roughly 3,000 votes either way. Now, they also adjusted Biden, but they did him a lot more. They stole roughly 9,000 votes from him. And I think that the reason that they did that was in order to keep it looking legitimate. If Biden hadn't had any votes taken from him, then people would just automatically assume that this was cheating. But because there's so many votes taken from all three candidates, it creates an air of mystery, and so it can't be proven either way. And this is the smokescreen that they're running in order to avoid being easily detected. But the strategy here that they went with is the third-party votes were not allowed to get more than 2.1%, and the votes were consistently stolen from the third party. And I think what happened is they probably, although I can't say for sure, gave those votes to Biden over the course of the evening, is what happened.
So, when you show the evidence, how come they didn't do nothing? Right, you guys? We all knew they cheated. Okay, I got two more. The next two is Trish.
Always been a place where bold ideas begin, take root, and grow strong.
The left is panicking right now. They are in a full-blown panic because they got a socialist takeover with Mamdani and all his backup singers. And the backup singers are turning into quite a little choir there to back him up, right? He's got them all in New York, and then he's got some in Michigan, and then he's got this new lady out. Oh, she's from Ethiopia originally, and she's out doing a song and dance in the 1st District of Colorado, calling for the need for more foreign-born from third world emerging market countries to come here and run for politics, because that's the only way we're going to conquer American imperialism, American horrors. I'm like, you came here for a better life, and now you want to turn it into what? What Ethiopia was, for goodness sakes? Please. All right, you got to watch her. Okay, her name is Melat Kirans.
I think it's particularly important, not just for our community in Tigray, but communities of the global South, period, right? There's a certain reckoning that we are going to have with the global world order as it exists today, and the way that it fundamentally will have to shift going forward, right? The responsibility that we have as Americans, the recognition that is going to be required of us, of the exploitative and extractive nature that we play on the global scale and the global stage, is only going to be challenged if we are getting represented by people who understand that on a fundamental level, right? And that means getting more immigrants into office. That means getting more people who have heritage in the global South into office, because that's where those decisions are made specifically.
Did she say more immigrants in office? Oh my God, he's supposed to be an American.
Because they're the only ones that can understand. They're the only ones that can go out there and fight for their home countries. Don't forget, when Somalia's president decided to come to Minnesota, right to the US of A, and campaign for one Ilhan Omar, and his big line, I've played it for you before, is Ilhan's not trying to work for Ilhan. Oh, she might be. Just saying. Yeah, it's a lot of money, a lot of questions. Ilhan's not trying to work for the people in Minnesota. Ilhan is working for the people of Somalia in Somalia. In other words, she has Somalia's interests first. And now are we to anticipate that everybody who comes here has somebody else's interests at heart? I mean, you've heard so many of these Congress people now have come out and said, hey, we need you to have one citizenship, one passport. If you're going to be a member of Congress, you shouldn't be walking around with 2 different passports. You're either American or you're Somalian. You're either American or you're Ethiopian. You're either American or you're Guatemalan. Pick your poison, okay? Pick one. Because we need to know that your interest is in the interest of America, not for something you're trying to do back home, which I guess you consider your real home. This is a problem. I mean, look, I mean, they've made such an effort, right, to import all this extremism here to the United States of America. And now they're left scratching their heads saying, what are we going to do? I mean, it's bad when the senator, Democratic senator from Virginia, gets asked a question this morning by my friend Joe Kernan. He is great, by the way, on Squawk Box in the morning, and he's a real conservative. And it's great because, you know, I don't know how you can be a business news reporter, by the way, and not be a conservative, for goodness sakes, because, you know, we care about the bottom line, which is we want economic success and we want military success, right? That's sort of what is kind of important to those people in markets and in business. Anyway, Joe Kernan is there, and he asked Senator Mark Warren from Virginia, hey, you know, what about Zohran Mamdani and his plan to arrest Netanyahu? What do you think of that? And look at Mark Warner's response. You can tell this guy is terrified. This is a big problem for the Democrat Party. Take a look.
Do you support Michigan Senate candidate Abdul El Sayed?
I have stayed out of all of these races. I'm just not, you know, I'm running myself this year. I'm trying to get reelected myself in Virginia.
Mark Warner doesn't want to say boo when it comes to Zohran Mamdani because he's so freaking afraid. He's terrified. He sees the direction everything is going with all the crazies running the asylum, and he just needs to stay alive another day, for goodness sake, so he can't answer this properly.
Yeah, how about arresting Netanyahu
I do not
and doubling down on arresting?
I do not support. I do not support defunding the police. I do support meaningful reforms on ICE so that we don't have the outrageous activities
Netanyahu
these
should be at
guys
the
who are
Hague.
not.
Netanyahu should be at the Hague
but I tell you this
in
much.
prison for war crimes. I mean, there's things that are
but
coming
I tell
out.
you this much. I fear for the fact, as a long-term supporter of Israel, that my kids have only grown up with Israel where Bibi has been the head, and I completely reject his government. I even voted against the effort to continue to allow the West Bank settlers to use American bulldozers to destroy homes. Bibi Netanyahu's done more to hurt the image of Israel than all prior Israeli leaders combined. And that's not good for Israel.
And what does that mean for what Mayor Mamdani has said about, specifically about trying to arrest Netanyahu when he comes to New York for the UN week in September?
Here it comes.
Listen, Andrew, there's been a lot of leaders that we all have disagreed with that have come to the UN that haven't been subject to American legal jurisdiction. Now, I candidly have not been following the ins and outs of it. I've been actually following on trying to put some rational policies in place on things like AI and trying to push back against Chinese dominance in so many of these domains where we have technology competition. That's a better use of my time.
Senator Warner, always enjoy talking to you and look forward to seeing you again very, very soon. Thanks.
Okay, look, so the reporter's like, yeah, I'm on to you. I gotcha. He should have pushed him. You should have pushed him harder. But, it's access journalism, guys. That's look, I've worked in all these places. I've worked actually kind of like everywhere, including CNBC, where I hosted their #1 show, actually, alongside my friend Larry Kudlow for like 5 years. Anyway, at 11 a.m., it was called The Call. I'm just telling you, they are afraid to push and push and push to really get a real answer out of the guy because they know he won't come back on. Okay, so they're like, okay, I'm going to bite my tongue here. I won't keep pushing. But here's the reality on the ground. You've got all of these people trying to take over the party. You got this anti-Semitism that's on steroids all of a sudden, and Mamdani's really, kind of fanning this, if you would, fanning the flames of the fire. I want to go to Bernie Sanders, who's the original, right? I guess a self-hating Jew, if you would, because he's Jewish and he despises Israel and he wants to take away all money all money that we would ever give in kind for Israeli military support. Listen.
We must not give one nickel more of U.S. taxpayers to the extremist government in Israel. Not another nickel.
Stop buying expensive blood glucose test strips and say goodbye to the daily pain of finger pricking. This portable home health monitor simply clips right onto your finger to accurately measure your...
Okay, blaza, 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 blaza. Okay, they love you there, Bernie, for that one. So Bernie Sanders doesn't want to give any money. You know, we do give about $3.5 billion, and it was done over a decade. And the money actually is for purchasing of U.S. military equipment so that they can protect themselves and kind of be our, dare I say, hitman in the Middle East, right? There's a reason for it. You know, they're kind of doing our dirty work. Maybe people don't want to admit that, but it is in the U.S. interest to have some kind of cop over there in the Middle East. Otherwise, you're going to get a little bit of what we got going on right now, and you'll have a lot more of it, right? If it's all bedlam and Iran is just shooting at everybody. So Israel is helping us, we're helping them, and we look to them to be kind of the cop there in the Middle East. I mean, that's just the reality. We helped create Israel, okay? We created it. And now we're like, okay, we need it to run reasonably. And all these people want to kill each other for some reason. So who's going to be the adult in the room? And that's what the $3.5 billion is about. So everybody wants to cancel that. You know what else they want to do? They want to get rid of prisons. And they want to have healthcare for all. And they want to have education for all for free, you know, so you can get your PhD in transgender studies. And they want to have a basic universal income so that you never have to work. I mean, the list goes on and on and on. And yeah, it's gotten crazy. It's so crazy that even CNN's Van Jones is out there saying, I got to step in. And indeed he did. And he called out how crazy it was. And all of a sudden his phone was blowing up. Everybody's like, thank you, thank you, thank you. The Democrat Party is like, thank the Lord, right? Hallelujah. My gosh, darn it. Somebody's calling out the crazies, but I'll tell you, it's not going to do any good. He tries to blame it on Trump. He's all wrong on that front, but he's right that they got to get in front of this. Otherwise, I think it's going to be good stuff for us.
This phone has been blowing up all day. Governors from both parties, senators from both parties, Democrats in the House calling, thanking me for saying what everybody's been saying behind the scenes, which is that this stuff is going too far. I am a progressive Democrat. You want to talk about prison reform? I've done it as well as anybody, Republican Democrats in the South with Trump. I've done prison reform. I never said have no prisons. Where are you going to put the Klan? I've done police reform. I never said no police. Where are you going to put the pedophiles? Who's going to grab the pedophiles? This stuff is going too far. And
sorry about that last 10 minutes, you guys. I think we played that one. I'll make it up. I got a lot of, I want to do the short ones now. God, I can't believe it's already been 3.5 hours. But I got to get all these short ones out. Seven minutes on this one.
Are there?
Ma'am, which glossary?
This is, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Dr. Hartig, how many children visited the National Museum of American History last year?
Hi, good morning, ma'am.
Answer the question, how many kids?
Good morning, ma'am. Since we don't charge,
Are you the director of the museum?
I am, ma'am.
Okay, and you don't know how many people visited the museum last year?
2 million.
How many of those were children?
Ma'am, I don't have
even
those
know.
exact figures
Okay.
for you, but I'm happy to
Do you
take
agree that
back.
educating children about American history is a core duty of the museum? Yes or no?
Absolutely.
And are images of sexual fetishes appropriate for children? Yes or no?
So, ma'am,
It's a simple yes or no.
He's
Or
really
is
attacking
sexual
her,
imagery,
Farmingdale.
provocative sexual imagery, appropriate for kids? Yes or no?
Ma'am, we strive to represent all Americans.
You strive to represent queer, pedophiles, indoctrination, grooming of kids at an American History Museum. And it sounds like you're proud of it. You won't answer the questions, probably because you're ashamed. And as a woman, I really can't believe you will sit here today and you can't even admit that sexual imagery like this behind me, they tell me, my staff tells me, this little trinket around the penis, this is BDSM, in a setting where children are walking through. That's disgusting. Like, what kind of message are you trying to send to kids with BDSM imagery? What are you trying to tell kids? Are you sexualizing children? Is that what your motive is for the museum? Why?
So that specific two-piece.
Do you know how many kids get raped by adults every year in this country? This kind of thing, when you are dressing men up as women, drag queens, you're putting this kind of crap in front of kids, sexualizes them and makes them more vulnerable to people that want to rape them or abuse them. Or when we have men and women's settings that want to do harm to women. You talked about the girlhood exhibit and you didn't want to answer the chairman's questions earlier, but it was a diary featuring a 6-year-old that reads, everybody was talking about getting boobs in their period. I pray to God every night for my penis to grow. Dr. Hartig, can you tell me, look me in the eye and tell me that belongs in an exhibit for kids?
Ma'am, Girlhood, It's Complicated was not an exhibit designed for children.
I know, you had the little disclaimer thing, which is sort of
the diary was of a 13-year-old going through puberty.
Okay. Do you think that's an appropriate thing to put in an American History Museum where there are children walking through? We're talking about American history.
Right. So Girlhood, It's Complicated.
Okay. I'm moving on because I don't know how much money you spent on getting prepped for this hearing. They did a good job because you're filibustering and not answering a single question from a single Republican. Today, do you believe that men can become women?
Ma'am, as the director of the museum, that's not relevant in this case.
It's very relevant. You've got men dressed up as women and you have them on displays in front of kids. Do you think men can become women? Yes or no?
So RuPaul's Drag Race, which is the upper...
It's a man. RuPaul is a man who dresses like a woman, literally.
Correct.
What is a woman, Dr. Hartig?
As a director and as a historian, it's not my opportunity.
You sexualize the American History Museum. So this is a fair question. What is a woman?
So at the museum...
What is a woman?
We strive to represent and not categorize all Americans.
Okay, I have another question for you. There's a glossary at the museum that informs visitors that while American culture traditionally recognizes 2 genders, other countries recognize 3 or more. So enlighten me this morning. How many genders are there?
1.
Ma'am, which glossary?
This is a display. And that has a glossary that says other countries recognize 3 or more genders. So I would like you to enlighten me today. You're the director of the American History Museum who's sexualized things in front of kids. I want to ask you, how many genders are there?
So first of all, I'm happy to get back to you about the glossary.
How many genders are there?
Sure.
And what are they?
I'm not sure which glossary you're speaking of.
Of course, I know that you don't. You knew exactly what this hearing was about.
So
when was your gender revealed to you, Dr. Hartig?
So I don't really think that's relevant to the
It is relevant. You have a display at the American History Museum talking about gender isn't always revealed at birth. So when was your gender revealed?
So since I am a PhD and
I wasn't done yet, but I'll yield back, Mr. Chairman. Thank you. So enlighten me this morning. How many genders?
I can't believe they're still talking about that. Oh my God. Oh, men can get pregnant. What's a woman? What's a man? How old are they? Okay, I got about probably 10 to 15 short ones. I got that one lady from TikTok. Oh, wait. I won't be able to play him. I got it.
Teams participated in the World Cup, and there's usually only 32. Now, with everything going on in the Middle East, it's kind of crazy that they had 48, and we know that Israel was created in 1948. Stick with me because it gets interesting. Now, the World Cup Championship was held July the 19th, and Israel's 80th anniversary is May 14th, 2028. And in between those two dates are 666 days. Crazy, right? Now let's talk about the curse of the 8th decade. It's a concept suggesting that sovereign Jewish states historically failed to survive past 80 years due to internal division. This speaks directly to Tish B'Av, which was when the first and second temple were destroyed. And Tisha B'Av is 9/11. Tisha translates to 9, and Av is the 11th month of the Jewish year. And Lindsey Graham just passed away, and he was born on the 9th of July and died on the 11th of July. He also died 11 days before Tisha B'Av. This year, Tisha B'Av falls on July the 22nd and the 23rd. Speaking of 9/11, I want to add this. China just had 2 twin typhoons. Venezuela just had twin earthquakes. And Illinois just had twin tornadoes. Now, Madonna and Shakira headlined the halftime show for the World Cup. And Madonna is the perfect symbol for Crawley's Whore of Babylon. Let's just say that. I mean, that's obvious. Madonna's Madam X tour was on September the 17th, 2019, which was 1,666 days until April the 8th, 2024. Why is that important? Because April the 8th of 2024 was the historic day of the total solar eclipse over America. And the dates between these two historic solar eclipses was 6 years, 6 months, and 6 days. And the first jab was given exactly at the halfway mark of these two eclipses. And if you don't know, a corona is formed during a total solar eclipse. Madonna's Eurovision performance was very apocalyptic, and it showed America falling. It had gas masks, the Masonic pillars. Let's not forget the satanic robed performers. And at the end, the dancers climb up the staircase and fall into like the abyss. And we all know that they had Israel and Palestine flags represented in the performance. And then at the end, it said, "Wake up." So let's talk about how weird the World Cup looks. It looks eerily similar to Steven Spielberg's War of the Worlds. Do y'all remember that Trump had the trophy in the Oval Office for a while? What was that? Was it because he knows it represents Saturn and the incoming beast system? And do y'all remember the Economist cover? Now we know that Aleister Crowley was obsessed with ushering in the Aeon of Horus. And most of y'all know about Isis and Osiris and why all of these obelisks are everywhere in the world. Like where the reflecting pool is, the Washington Monument is 6,666 feet tall. There's a reason why the reflecting pool is in the news so much. They're bringing about the birth of Horus. And Horus represents the Antichrist beast system. Hence to why there are arms in handcuffs at the top. They literally put symbolism in everything. That is why it's so important to have some kind of understanding. Everything they do is intentional. Listen up.
That was a good one from her again. Let's go to the next one.
I speak for so many people that are awake that we are over this shit. I mean, I am so tired of waiting for this EBS that's supposed to go off, that for years that we've been hearing how we have it all. We have all the evidence, you know, but yet nobody has been held accountable. Nobody. You know, only people who have been held accountable are Americans who fucking are being brought to justice, apparently, on bullshit laws that aren't even fucking laws because they weren't even brought by elected officials. You know, our whole court system is practicing on a maritime law, which doesn't apply to us because it's the law of the sea. Yet we're being fucking held accountable for traffic tickets and drug charges and things like that on something that we shouldn't even be in court for. But yet these criminals are still walking around. I mean, you know, we have it all. We have it all. Yet there's the Wiener laptop. There's Jeffrey Epstein files. There's the fucking the election from 2016. Nobody has been brought to justice. Not one fucking charge. I mean, if you have it all, show it. Show it. Bring it out. This movie, you know, you say, well, we're watching a movie. We're watching a movie. Oh, and they've all been held accountable because they've all been and they've all been killed already and blah, blah, blah. But yet the Americans are fucking, our country is being destroyed. And we are the ones paying the price. You know, there's enough of us awake right now. Shock the rest of the world. Shock the rest of the Americans. If they're not ready for it, then they better get ready. Because we, the ones who have been awake, are so sick of this shit. I mean, get this to whoever it needs to get to, because, you know, I know that you have all the evidence. I know that there is the Anthony Weiner laptop. I know that Jeffrey Epstein did horrible things and all of his fucking cronies. I know this. I know Joe Biden didn't fucking win the election. But yet, nobody is going to do. And yet, we are the ones paying the price. I'm done with this movie. You know, make this movie end. It's getting so fucking old hearing, oh, the EBS is going to go off, and oh, we're going to go to martial law, and oh, this and that, and then nothing happens. Ew. I mean, I don't know who needs to hear this, like where this needs to go, whether it goes to Trump, whether it goes. I love President Trump, but this is getting freaking old really fast because the American people, we are losing our country, and we're losing. The only people losing are us. These other people are walking around free as birds and fucking, it is just ridiculous. So if you're on this train, fucking make a comment, because we need to do something, you guys. This is just, it's not happening fast enough. I'm so done with this, and I know so many of you guys are too. So leave a comment, and okay, two more. I don't know how many more I can get to, you guys. Getting tired. But I did a video about on August 12th of this year at 7:33 Pacific Standard Time. The rumor has it is that we are going to lose gravity for 7 seconds on the Earth. Now, this is a thing that came from a leaked document called Project Anchor. That NASA apparently knows that this is happening, and it has something to do with two black holes, and we're in the center, and the pooling, and I don't know. But anyway, they're saying that on August 12th, and a lot of people are like, this has been debunked. I hear that. I've seen that. And of course, if you go on Google, they're going to say it has been debunked. So it is interesting. I think we should talk about it because, okay, so here's the deal with it. August 12th, like I said, at 7:33 p.m. or a.m. Pacific Standard Times, we are supposed to lose gravity for 7 seconds. Now, that's just insane. What happens when we lose gravity for 7 seconds? Well, they're saying that anything that isn't bolted down will rise. And that includes our oceans, which would be an absolute disaster if that occurred. How far can you float in 7 seconds? Well, some guys did the math, and they basically came up with roughly between 120 and 150 feet in the air in 7 seconds. So that's relatively high. We're talking, if it's 150 feet, that's, 15 stories high. So when the gravity switches back on, you would fall 15 stories, which nobody would survive that, really. They have estimated that if this event occurs, between 40 and 60 million people will die. Now, I'm not here to fearmonger and all that. I just want to talk about this conspiracy. So here's what's interesting is I did this video months and months and months ago. I believe it was probably
in January, maybe, when I first heard about it. And at that time, I looked into it. Okay. And you can watch my video. And even Alexa was saying how there was no known holidays. If you asked her how many days until Christmas of this year, she was replying that there was no holidays scheduled for 2026 at Christmas time. And she did that all the way up until Labor Day. And then finally, which is strange. And then on 4th of July, she did say there were so many days till the 4th of July. And then she picked up at Labor Day and said there was no holidays, which is weird because what falls in between there is August. But okay, so I did this video months and months and months ago. And when I researched it, there was absolutely no talk about an eclipse. All of a sudden today, if you look into it, they're saying that we are going to have a full eclipse on August 12th. Also, there was no mention of an eclipse when I first did this video. So that has to make you think, where did they just all of a sudden just realize we're going to have an eclipse? I mean, the Mayan calendar, they fully fucking have said how many eclipses we were going to have and when they predicted them all, and they've been right. So what, they just didn't know until a few, like now, that we were going to have a full-on eclipse? Really weird. I think it's the rapture, but that's my opinion. I'm going to do more videos on this.
Okay, that's another good one. She's coming out now with better videos. She's a long-time follower. This will be the last one, you guys. I don't think we did this one.
At 7:33 Pacific time, AM, that we are supposed to lose gravity for 7 seconds. Yes, gravity on Earth. What's going to happen? Well, okay, first of all, it's called Project Anchor, and it was supposedly a leaked file from NASA. Now, don't come and tell me, oh my gosh, it's been debunked. It's been debunked. Of course, if you look it up on Google, it's going to say it's been debunked. You think they're really going to tell us this? So I don't know if it's going to be real or not, but here's the deal. So what's going to happen if we lose gravity on this Earth for 7 seconds? Well, some guys did the math, and they say basically that if in 7 seconds we could float up about 150 feet, which is roughly 15 stories. When gravity's put back on, you're going to fall 15 stories, which is going to be a hell of a fall.
I don't think it is.
Probably wouldn't survive that. Next, some other people figured out that basically roughly between 40 and 60 million, people would not survive this. So that we got that going first. If it's not molten down, it's going to rise. Now that includes our oceans, which is really messed up because, I mean, think about it, just the catastrophic effects of that. Okay, now here's what's really weird is I reported on this. I did a video, and you can go find it. In December, January-ish. And when I first looked into this, I, learned all about these stats and all this. There was absolutely no mention of an eclipse. Yeah. Today, I learned that all of a sudden on August.
Sorry about that, you guys. I'm going to wrap things up. I'm sorry I can't go longer. All right, so we got the 2 Billy Beans out, and I got a couple Trish out. I had a very important 11-minute one at the beginning, Flying Eagle. It was very, very powerful. So we got quite a bit of Indian stuff out. We should get the Billies and stuff. If anything breaks, I'll be on at 3 o'clock tomorrow. And thanks, Maud. Thanks, we had a good show yesterday, too. We're getting our people back. I got YouTube's messing with my numbers. But I got up to 280, I think, yesterday. It should have been over 3. So we're getting the last 5 shows. We've been over 200. So getting the people back. That's good. Everybody's finding my channel again. I have 1,900 subs. So hopefully everybody will be back in here. So everyone have a good Wednesday. And tomorrow we should have Mel, because Mel has her Wacky Wednesday tonight. So we'll have 1 hour one with her at least. So signing off to Chico, what are you going to say to Ariella and Bella? Huh? Look. Say goodbye to Ariella and Bella. Statue, okay? So thanks, mods. Find you okay, Lucy, Carol, Tim, and we'll have another big day tomorrow. Hopefully, we'll see you in the rest someday, soon. And till tomorrow night. God bless everybody. Love all. One retreat, 6 to 8. Where did you get the sign in? Huh? Ah, shoot. There it is. Stay safe, stay strong, keep the faith. Never give up. And Chico say, please don't forget to hit the like button. Huh? Yep, 3 o'clock, Lizzie. Good night, Mom. And we'll see you all tomorrow if something happens in the morning. Chico dude.